Hello.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the good old days of old chat. Remember these days? When basically all I did was capture the Twitch window? This is a complete band-aid solution, but I'm getting frickin' tired of the fact that I haven't had a response to my support ticket in 4 days. And it's their only active support ticket. So... Band-aids! Go! So, we're actually doing the zones kind of out of order here. Just a little bit. Because I feel the story flows a little bit better this way, and that's why we're doing it out of order. We'll go clean up the other stuff in a bit, don't worry. It's funny you asked that, Gnarlix. Why don't I answer you by linking you a video? Arshian Gaia, top 10. Top 10 games of all time. Just playing. Bam. There you go. There's my answer to you, Gnarlix. Okay, so... I have no idea what Man's Day is. Like, really, I don't. Hey, Prog, yes. Yes. That is a thing that's happening. Okay, so here we are, Dustwallow Marsh.
What can I do for you?
What now, soldier? Reinforcements? For the Barons? We've been bleeding supplies and men there for months. Someone need to remind Twinbraid of the attack on Northwatch? Our losses at Honor Stand? What happened to the man I sent to Fort Triumph? We have nothing to spare. Listen, Leafsong. If you want to help out our cause, you'll focus our efforts here, in Dustwallow. Between the deserters and the Horde, we could use a hand.
Be careful.
Okay, here's the recap of Dead. Stuff happens! Poor James never did recover from the destruction of the Shady Rest and the murder of his family. The boys and I are doing what we can to find the monsters who did this. I've sent our best investigator, Tarim, into the ruins, but this is too big a job for any one man. If you'd lend Tarim a hand, we'd all appreciate it. Light knows we'd all like to be out there helping. The main road will lead you to the inn, but take care. Your journey will take you beyond the protection of my soldiers.
Light bless you.
Good day to you.
I'm working on a dish I call mud rock soup and bugs. I still need the ingredients, and I don't think I'd last long trudging through the marsh. So could you do some hunting for me? You want the tongues of mud rocks that are forked. Apparently they have a distinct flavor.
Safe travels.
Yeah, the cycle of violence. The good news is we're past the real war zones. I mean, I like the South Barrens a lot. It's very well presented. It's excellently written. It was incredibly tragic, and God, it hurts every time I quest through that zone. So I'm kind of glad we're through it, you know what I mean?
Can I help you?
Deep in the heart of the swamp lies a old woman called Tabitha. We've never really known much about her, save she's a good deal older than she appears. She has helped us from time to time, and helped keep the peace between us and the Horde forces. She used to keep in regular contact, but we haven't received one lately.
See you around.
Interesting Sonashi. Like I said, I'd never actually heard of that before. Consider me ignorant.
What can I do for you?
The Steam Weedle Cartel has recently established a new outpost in the southern part of Dustwallow Marsh. It's called Mudsprocket. If I recall, it's located on the main road. This is an excellent opportunity for us to establish new trade contacts with Lady Jaina. New trade contacts, and Lady Jaina wants me to send a representative. Would you be willing to go? Of
Have a good
course. It's good to see you. This is a deserter agitator who's saying this. It's good to see you defending Theramore with pride, friend. When you're off duty, let's go to the inn. I'll buy a round and we can reminisce about the old days. Would you like to bring those old days back? I have some friends who know just the way to do that. Yeah, by the way, try to remember that a lot of Theramore people are, transmog, dead. A lot of Theramore people are very anti-Horde. Because so many of them were loyal to Kulturas and Admiral Proudmoore. Hi everyone I haven't said hi to yet, by the way. Aded, Narlix, Zawan Progue, Psychotic, Sonashi. How do I say your name? Is it Jemaki? Jemaki? I feel like I've asked this before. I'm terrible at pronunciations in general. And of course, the Salmon King! Not to be confused with the Troupple King. He's over there. Doing his own thing. Yeah, Theramore's right there. Weird, huh? It's almost as though it hasn't happened yet. Gem Key. Got it. I'm going to try and remember that. Gem Key. I am genuinely bad with pronunciations. You can ask any of my viewers about it. So I always am trying to pronounce names properly. Sometimes I succeed. So, Dustwallow Marsh. Oh, yeah, bailed in yesterday. Oh, hurts. So, Dustwallow Marsh is unfortunately the zone that is, ironically, the least changed by the Cataclysm. This is, what you're seeing here is basically the zone that came out in, oh, if you give me a moment, I could give you the exact patch. Because I have those notes still up right here. Bam! 2.3. So, back in actual launch vanilla, Dustwallow Marsh was terrible. I mean, it was just bad. And yeah, this whole area had, I think, a grand total of about 15 quests in it, in the entire zone. And a lot of people were very disappointed about that. The only things that were really significant here were the missing diplomat quests. No, Zawan, no, I think this place is still changed even less than that. I mean, seriously. There's like nothing. Okay, in fairness, Teldrassil was also not changed much. So it's a three-way tie between Teldrassil and Vilmar and Dustwallow. So yeah, Dustwallow was one of those this place sucks kind of a places. Yeah, you pretty much only just came here to kill Onyxia. However, in 2.3, which was the patch that added Zulamon, if you'll remember that one, I actually showed you the cutscene for that one. It was, you know, we gonna bury you here, that one. In that patch, they decided to basically completely revamp Dustwallow. And so, it was a really weird leveling experience, because the way it worked was, you know, this is during BC, right? So you're going through vanilla, leveling 1 to 60, and as you're going, you're hating yourself because it's vanilla, and all of a sudden you get to about 30-ish, and you do this zone, and this zone was basically a BC equivalent zone, because they'd learned a bit. You know, this was a zone that they had made after BC had come out. So it was on the level of quality of, say, Netherstorm or Shadowmoon. So not exactly great compared to modern stuff, but at the time it was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, oh, yeah. So like all of a sudden everyone I knew, including my own leveling path, just arced. Wherever we were, whichever side or class or anything we were, we always made a point to level through Dustwallow, even though it got a little old, because it was just such less of a hassle than going through the, wow. Hang on a second. There we go. It was just so much less of a hassle than going through any of the other zones. You know what I mean? How'd that work out? Yeah, it works out okay. So, this is obviously the, okay, so Dustwallow is one of those locations we actually spent a fairly number, yes, Permeus, we're using a Band-Aid today, fairly large number of Frozen Thrones Orc campaign, if you could call it that, actually happened in. Hey, Darker. So for those of you who don't actually recall, or never played it to begin with, in Frozen Throne, we actually were playing as Rexar. There we go. And, Nightbot doesn't know how to get that one, Lex. And Rexar was like the Rexar had like 4 maps basically that he would go between, or 4 chapters. And the first one was all set up in Durotar, and a little bit of the Barrens. The second one was pretty much, or the second or the third one, I forget which exactly, but was pretty much entirely set in Dustwallow Marsh. This is where he tames the ogres, who are still serving the Horde to this day. We'll see those when we actually switch to the Horde side. And this is where the Alliance gentlemen and women and children and everyone from Lorerun, the survivors of the Lorerun disaster, set foot in what they would eventually call Theramore. This is also the site of a fairly horrible battle when Admiral Proudmoore came over. Now, at the time when that map came out and Admiral Proudmoore decided that he was going to kill all orcs because he really hated orcs. At the time, I just thought he was a brainless, stupid idiot, because I was like, oh my god, seriously, dude, we just got over this. We just got over this. Stop being... Looking back on it, I have to admit, Admiral Proudmoore has a fairly large and understandable bias against the Horde. Especially since he has no knowledge of the Horde. Or of the orcs, I really should be more clarifying there. It's like this. Admiral Proudmoore was one of those men who saw the demonic horde and assumed that's how the orcs naturally were. And we know that that is not true. Jaina knows that's not true. Several other individuals know that is not true. While the orcs are not exactly saints, comparing them to their demonic horde times is just not exactly no. Let's just end that sentence that way. No. But yeah, no kidding, Gnarlix. Shoot, I had a train of thought there and it just got destroyed. I've been really tired lately. So it is understandable why, when he sees that these Horde are building up and forming a new organization, and his first thought would be to try and take them down by any means necessary. Because his natural assumption is that the orcs are trying to build a new horde, which they are, in order to devastate all life on Earth. Which is not true. By the way, to give you a direct example of what I mean, some people think the orcs should not be forgiven for what happened to the demonic horde. That's much more of a morality judgment call than a more linear mathematical judgment call. But all I have to say about that is Saurfang. Saurfang was one of the fell orcs. Saurfang, the gentleman who has the respect of the Alliance, who has done everything in his power to redeem himself ever since, and who desperately wants to ensure that that kind of a thing never happens again. I mention that because that is either an insight into exactly how much those horrible acts can change you, or, and I like this idea too, it shows how much a noble soul, like Saurfang, could be completely changed by that demonic infusion. And I do personally think Saurfang is a noble individual, even before all those events happened, since, you know, he made that promise to ensure that his son would be untainted, would not go through the portal. Remember that? And then the Lich King completely ruined that. Hey, Braven.
You need something?
Did you get the forked tongues? Wait, wrong accent. Oh, these'll do fine. Thank you. I'll try cooking different techniques on the tongues to find the best way to bring out their flavor. Eventually, I'll have a dish worthy of serving at the Blue Recluse in Stormwind. Another component of the recipe is the shelled leg of giant crab. And crabs they have in Dustwallow, spiny rock crawlers, will be perfect. You know, why am I even doing this quest?
See you around.
Screw this quest. Rawr. Anyways, back to Saurfang. So it is my opinion, I mean, Saurfang is not the only individual who is like this, but it is my opinion that the orcs were either completely different under Fel domination, or have been completely changed by the Fel domination. That is my take on it, and given how much we've seen Fel corruption can utterly, utterly alter someone's perspective on things, I think it's fairly likely. Now, real quick, you remember we talked about, that highway? You remember? We were discussing how the Alliance was building a proper road, and we discussed the importance of infrastructure. Hey, Fallout. And hey, Zebros? Am I saying that right? I think I am. Anyways, we were talking about the importance of that infrastructure and how much it changes the ability of an army and a supply chain to move. Well, first of all, we see quite a bit of siege machinery here. But second of all, this is actually the highway. This is the Theramore Highway. And as you can see, they've really spared no expense on this one. Now, not all of it is completed, as you can see. But it is a proper wide highway, if you know what that means. And if you don't, you can probably figure it out in 3 seconds by using your brain. So, yeah, this is the pipeline of the Alliance into the east coast of Kalimdor. This is how they attack Kalimdor. Without this, there would be nothing, basically. Why don't we go ahead and do that quest first. Yeah, I think Zuan will be very happy to see his Alliance friends killing all in their path. Or wait. What you're looking at is pretty much the big change in Cataclysm. The fact that they added this highway. And there's a couple of quests involving it. Only a couple. You'll notice those are the Grim Totem, by the way. You know, the Alliance's allies. Yeah. Don't mind me, giant tanks. Don't mind me. This could be an incredibly useful trade link highway, yes. So the other reason why this highway is so important, ignoring the obvious reasons why a highway is so important, this is Dustwallow Marsh. You ever tried to move a lot of people or goods or vehicles through a marsh? Yeah, having a road going down, pretty much, look at it, it's literally just bisects the marsh there, is immensely valuable. You also notice there's been a lot of corpses as we go along here, because the Horde has been trying to claim the highway, and failing at it, go Alliance. It's kind of understandable, since the Horde are off kind of doing their own thing right now, and the Horde presence in Dustwallow is actually fairly weak. They've got the Ogres who are loyal to them, and that's basically it, but we'll get there, we'll get there. So, anyone remember this quest? This is another quest that's been around for a while. Yes, it is, Gnarlex. Relatively. Not the same way it hits us, because they don't have fake money like we do. Hey, Nightforger, did I already say that?
Greetings.
It's good to see that Captain Vimes is finally assigning others to this investigation. I've used a reflective powder to dust the area. It'll reveal suspicious objects and markings. Okay.
For the Alliance.
Let's do it! Oh, poor Sonashi. Pat. Okay, so first of all, you've been hearing that WoW is dying since vanilla. That's not a joke. People have been saying that since vanilla. Second of all, saying something is dying, there's only two answers to that. First of all, you are pulling a technically, in which case I am dying right now, and so are you, and so is every human on the planet. In other words, a meaningless statement. Or B, what you are trying to imply by the usage of your terminology is that, oh, it's dying, it's on its dying breath. Which is patently not true, since WoW is still not only the most dominant MMO out there, but still has not even plateaued yet. And will probably not even start dying even after it plateaus. And is still receiving support, and is still receiving updates, and still has a fairly large amount of income that is being poured into Blizzard Activision as a result. So, no, WoW is not dying. It is provably not dying. People are alarmists and extremists, and a lot of people like to go out of their way to show that every little thing they don't like about the game indicates that the game is dying. And they've been doing it since vanilla. A glint of light on the ground catches your eye from underneath the rubble. Brushing away debris and ash caked onto the object reveals the gold anchor of white enamel on the surface. The sign of Theramore. Yeah, no kidding, Jokey. Underneath the anchor is embossed the name Lieutenant Pavel Reed. An iron shield, blackened by the fire raging through the inn, is affixed to the crumbling chimney, one of the few remaining parts of the structure that once made up the Shady Rest Inn. Well, the shield can be removed from the brick. Okay, let's go and take that off. What else we got here? Rows of hoofprints lead away from the still-smoking skeleton of the Shady Rest Inn. There are at least a few visible impressions, with more rows of prints almost imperceptible in the soft mud. Interesting, interesting. They could see them. They're everywhere, Night Forger. They don't even know they're dead. You know, if I could say one thing, I don't actually like Guild Wars 2. I know. Hate me for my opinion. It's okay. I understand it. But I don't actually like Guild Wars 2. But I fully supported Guild Wars 2. I actually bought it and started playing it day of and pushed my way through it and beat the game and then put it down and never went back to it. But I still support it because the developers' stated intention was great. Their stated intention was actually very, very simple. Their stated intention was, we don't want to compete with WoW. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, duh. But no, seriously, do you know how rare that is? That an MMO developer says we don't want to compete with WoW? No. Every MMO developer out there and every publisher out there has been like, oh, we want the next WoW killer. We want to be the ones who are the WoW killers. This will be the WoW killer MMO. And it's never happened. So, yeah. It was just a nice breath of fresh air to see someone finally say, oh, we're making an MMO, and it's not a WoW killer. Oh my god, what a shock. By the way, just going back to what I was talking about earlier, I want you to, I'm sorry, what, Vimes? You're gonna have to clarify your question a bit for me. The Age of Conan was a game that was trying to be a WoW killer and failed miserably.
Hello. Have a good one.
Anyways, in response to what Sonashi says, absolutely WoW is doing less subscriptions than they are. Of course they are. The entire MMO market has moved on significantly. MMOs are no longer the big thing that they used to be. MMOs have had their time in the limelight, and now, just like every other thing in the time in the limelight, they're going back to a normal market. What you're seeing is normalization in terms of the market. And that has not just affected WoW, you're just noticing it the most in WoW, because WoW is the one that had the vast lion's share of the subs in general. Excuse me. And yeah, MOBAs are the current big, spotlight game. Does anyone know what the hell Vimes is talking about? Because I actually don't. You're going to have to give me something more to go off of, man. So, for example, back when RTSs were this big thing, they're this huge, massive, oh my god, and then there was this big boom of RTSs, and then they normalized out, and now they're normal. They're at a normal market thing. And then there were FPSs, which were boom, all of a sudden there's this big FPS thing, and then it normalized back to normal. GTA, boom, everything was this big GTA thing, and it normalized back down to normal. You with me? So that's like, it's normal. Every single type of game has had that exact concept happen to it at some point or another. And it's still happening today. Again, MOBAs has been the latest thing. MOBAs are actually kind of sliding their way out the door as we speak. And we're getting into some other... we're getting into a few other things in the future. It's debatable what's going to be the next in the limelight kind of a thing. Probably sandboxes, if I were to guess. Not sandboxes like GTA. Sandboxes like No Man's Sky and Minecraft and whatnot. But yeah, MMOs in general had this big boom thing. And it pretty much happened right about when WoW was coming out, in the golden age, so to speak, of MMOs. And that time has passed. We are no longer in the boom. MMOs are just not a big thing anymore, just like everything else. So what you're seeing is partially the fact that some people are simply tired of playing the same game for 10 years. Understandable. Partially the fact that the market has moved on and MMOs just aren't that big of a thing anymore. Partially the fact that a lot of the people who played WoW and invested so much of themselves into WoW no longer actually have the time to. And I admit I'm actually in one of those categories as well, because I don't have the time to raid like I used to, for example. But yeah, it's the majority of the lion's share of that is just the the market normalizing. That's all that is, Sonoshi. So I hope that actually makes a little bit more sense.
King's honor, friend.
Okay. It's good of Theramore to send someone. Your guard friend's suspicions were correct. We've got some new neighbors, and they aren't the kind you'd bring casserole.
Be careful.
When that goblin, what's her name? Foxy, Moxie, that's it. And it was when she came through on her way to the Zeppelin wreck, she said all the towns of Mudsprocket were having... The town of Mudsprocket was having problems. That crashed Zeppelin was bringing them fresh supplies. If you follow the road south of here, past the Stone Mole ruins, you'll eventually reach Mudsprocket. Okay, I already have to go to Mudsprocket. Do you have any other quests for me? Maybe?
How are you?
Yeah, the single biggest reason for anyone to play an MMO is my friends are playing that MMO. That's been true basically going all the way back to EverQuest. When it was EverQuest, Ultima Online, and Asheron's Call, the one you played, you usually played because one of your friends was playing that one. That's how you ended up picking one. During the last Grim Totem attack, I was wounded, but not before I managed to capture a curious totem our enemies were using against us. It seems to be emitting raw bolts of energy during the battle, but in all my experiments I haven't been able to figure out how it works. I'll loan the totem to you if you agree to help me test it. The watery areas around the farm are home to pesky mottled drywallow crocolisks and drywallow dagger moths. Oh, that sounds fun.
Have a good one.
If there's one thing you can count on the apprentice Moreland to do, it's to whine about reagents. Normally I just ignore them, and it never works. This time I'm going to try something different. Maybe if I replace the reagents before he notices them, he'll leave me alone. Well, okay.
See you later.
Let's try and help you out with this, buddy. What about you?
What can I do for you?
The grim totems up at Direhorn Post, just to the north, are getting bolder by the day. At night you can hear them chanting about their deeds in battle against people who've tried to settle here. They're determined to drive us from Tabitha's farm, even though she's trained generations of apprentices here. We've defended the farm as best we can, but the apprentice Garion was wounded in the last attack. Kill the grim totem.
Safe travels.
Not long ago, a goblin zeppelin crashed to the east. A representative of Steamweedle Cartel passed through here a few days ago. She was looking for information about the zeppelin's cargo and its pilot, Beazle, but no one's really got a good look at the crash. Well, let's go see what we can do.
Have a good one.
Well, Tabitha was part of several actually, I guess she was just part of one Zul'Farrak quest back in Vanilla. Otherwise, I don't know what you would be recognizing her from. Is it possible to kill WoW? No. It's the problem was WoW was part of the reason why there was such a big MMO boom. The idea of killing it was always ridiculous and was basically never going to work. It's one of the reasons I always laughed when someone was like, we're going to make the new WoW killer. The only thing you could do is to make an MMO that either competes with the market, get some of the, so you get some player base early on, and then you lose it as everyone goes back to play WoW. That happened to a lot of MMOs. Or you, you try to make an MMO that's designed to be the WoW killer, and you just make a bad MMO, so you have a poor standing to begin with. And what? I'm in the quagmire. Oh my god. Here, look, oh my god, seriously. I'm right frickin' here. I'm in the quagmire. There. God dang it. Anyways, ding, level 40. Bad timing on that one. Oh, I'll go ahead and take a picture with our friend here. Or, to continue my line of thought here, you make an MMO that's designed not to compete with WoW, and you go off in your own direction, which may or may not succeed. That's basically a coin toss. I actually don't own that many Star Wars books anymore, Vimes, because most of my Star Wars books were actually owned by my mother, the one who introduced me to Star Wars as an EU in general, actually. And I guess that's the end of that statement, really. She is the one who actually owns all of those books. I own a few of my own, mostly the books that have come out since I have moved out. But I have to be completely honest, I haven't actually gotten that much into them because, well, I haven't liked much anything after the Yuzun Vong situation, you know what I mean? So I didn't really have an interest in buying most of those. So I own like 10 or so books, but the lion's share are still in her library. I also have a couple of copies of my own of books that, you know, I really, really liked, like the Thrawn Trilogy and the Thrawn Duology. I have both, of course. Basically anything by Timothy Zahn I have, so that's those three. I guess I could go and count these out here. I've got Outbound Flight, and I forget the name of the other one, but the one that ties into Outbound Flight. I also have that Stormtrooper one, whose name I can't think of right now. It's in a box over there with the rest of my things. I don't actually have a proper library set up right now. And I know I'm missing a few. I have Shadows of the Empire. I have my own copy of that because I love that book. I also have the Kurnach Cluster trilogy. I can't think of the actual name of it. And I think that's actually it. So that's basically 10 books. Like I said, I guess my estimate was pretty accurate. What's a good WoW book to start with? Well, anything by Knack is probably not going to be good. But I do recommend... Knack? I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I do recommend you look at the Lich King book. I do recommend you glance at Wolfheart and... Stormrage, I believe, is the other one. Yes, I did, Zuan. I'm aware of what you were talking about with the, we dug too greedily and too deeply. And I did some of my own independent research on it after I stopped streaming, and I didn't find anything, basically. So, I got nothing on that. The upcoming book, Illidan, looks like it'll be good, too. Maybe. I do not recommend War Crimes. I really don't recommend the Trial book, or is that War Crimes? Whatever, I don't recommend either of those books. War of the Ancients. If you want to read War of the Ancients, that is totally up to you. Okay, here's the thing. If you enjoy Robert Knack? I really don't know how to pronounce his name. But anyways, if you enjoy his writing, that's great. In fact, I think that's awesome that you enjoy his writing. His writing is very basic, is probably the best way I could put it. It's one of the reasons why he has such a bad reputation, because all of his stories are very obvious, and all of his characters are very obvious. There's not a lot of gray in there. I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. I don't like it personally. I don't know, Darker. Well, oh no, she landed on her head, so no damage was done. That's what happened. And admittedly, a lot of people tend to like their distaste for some of the things Knack? One of these days I'll figure out how to pronounce his name. Did. And so they let that spill over into dislike of his writing. Now, you're like, well, what do you mean by what he did? Well, I can actually explain that. Once upon a time, there was a comic that came out that attributed a lot of major events to... I'm trying to think how to best describe this. Let me think about this. Give me a moment. I'm not even going to talk about Ronan. Let's just leave that aside. the basic idea is Knock went back and he was like, I'm going to basically rewrite the War of the Ancients. And he basically said, I can do this because there's alternate timelines in Warcraft. And in fact, we're still not even 100% sure if the events that in War of the Ancients book actually that's the wrong target. I don't know what I did. Actually happened in our timeline or an alternate one, because there are actually contradictions between the two. Significant contradictions between the two, actually. So, as to whether or not that actually happened or not is debatable. But again, part of the reason that tends to upset people is because of the fact that he just kind of did his own thing without any regard to continuity and said, screw it. I'm going to just basically change history. You know? And I freely admit I am also biased against his writing because of that. Because of the way he wrote Ronin, which I couldn't stand, just my opinion. And because of the fact that I really don't like that alternate timeline thing. I've never liked that. And that's how that whole story got started. You know? So there's the my overall opinion on why he has the negative... Oh, for God's sakes, don't daze me. Why he has that negative connotations to his work. It's also why I don't recommend people start reading it if they're starting to read WoW books, which was the question I was asked. If you're going to start reading WoW books first off to see if they're any good or if you like them, I don't think that's a good place to start. If you like it, that's fine, but you are also possible to dislike it enough that you're turned off from Warcraft books forever. You know what I mean? So not a good place to start reading it if you follow. Hello, Ophis, Space Cowboy. I have no idea how long we've been going. A few minutes, hour, something like that. Looks like about 40-ish minutes, something like that. No, in fact, so my sister will make fun of me for this. I have a long-standing, rule my sister can attest to. I don't actually want to stop and fight stuff most of the time. I just want to get to my destination and move on with it, right? If you daze me, all of that goes out the window. I actually have a rule. If you daze me, I will stop everything I'm doing, even if there's 50 mobs on me, turn around and kill the crap out of you, because you dazed me. So what the One Joker is talking about really isn't the alternate timelines thing per se. What the One Joker is talking about is the Elseworlds concept, and I am in favor of the Elseworlds concept. I am not in favor of the fact that they can cheat and just kind of do whatever with alternate timelines in order to invalidate previous established events, you know? That's not the thing that I am okay with. When you're using that as a crutch to either bring back characters or advance story arcs or whatever, no. And I could give you a direct example of cheating with alternate timelines, even though I don't want to. Warlords of Draenor, which was cheating. Anyways.
Interesting.
So, so, those hermit mages sent you. I can be sure I can trust you. Nah, I suppose I can use the help. There's not much a mage would be interested in here anyways.
Hurry back.
Just look at this area. It's swarming with oozes. If you don't find some way to keep them under control, they'll corrode the wreckage with the Zeppelin's cargo. I can't go back empty-handed, Druid. Help me dissolve these oozes before they digested everything. This device, when powered, will concentrate energy on the slimes, cause them to explode.
Careful out there.
No, I remember it very well, Narlux, and it absolutely was cheating, and I hated it. I'll talk about that in just a second, Jedi Mew. This Zeppelin was carrying 6 months' worth of supplies for us at Mudsprocket. Sure, they'd have to barter for what they need, but they won't hold out forever. I've been sent to recover what I can of the cargo. The wreckage is scattered everywhere. Would you be willing to help me recover what I can?
Have a good one.
Yes, that's correct, Luffet. Alright, so... And Elseworlds is a story that has absolutely no connection to the main continuity. That's really it. That's the only definition. It's just over there on the side, right? Nothing to do with anything. Why didn't that... I got the buff. Come on. Come on. Give me the buff. There we go. Yeah, also, yeah, that's a good point. Don't use WoWWiki. WoWWiki's terrible and not really that up-to-date. Use Wowpedia. Much better team in Wowpedia. Anyway, so yeah, an Elseworlds has nothing to do with the continuity. It's there to be another story. It's like, well, what if... You know, that is actually pretty much the driving force behind an Elseworlds. What if? And I am hugely in favor of what-if stories in general. If they're done correctly. I probably will loaf it, yes. I believe it's already been requested, so yeah. Anyways, so, you know, over there doing its own completely separate thing that has nothing to do with anything and is never, ever connected to the main continuity, yes, I'm okay with that. Within reason. I mean, obviously, Elseworld stories can be just as bad as they are good, just like any story can. The benefit... yeah, exactly, Adet. The benefit of an Elseworlds is you don't have to maintain adherence to continuity. The detriment of an Elseworlds is you don't have to remain adherence to continuity. Now, I know that sounds repeating, but let me explain myself. In most continuities, you can't do big stuff. You are chained to the status quo, right? So no matter what you do in your story, you either have to pound the reset button at the end of the story, or you have to find some way to make things go back basically the way they were. This is true for a lot of settings, a lot of franchises. Comics have had this issue for a really long time, right? There's just so much you cannot do, you know? So you're limited. Your hands are bound when you're writing a story for a franchise. And in Elseworlds, you can do whatever. You can have Spider-Man die on the second page if you feel like it. Now here's the catch. That is a benefit, but it is also the exact same detriment because the value of that can be lessened, and some writers tend to think that as a, oh, we can do whatever we want. And there's literally been a story where Wolverine died on the second page just because the writer didn't like Wolverine and wanted him out of the picture. That's a thing. That's a thing that's happened, you know? And so it's easy to lose any impact or drama from it based on how it is. So it really, as with anything, it boils down to whether it's well written or whether it's badly written. Vimes, forgive me, I don't actually understand your question. What do you mean about the blood spilling towards? So yeah, I am asterisk in favor of Elseworld stories as long as they're written well. In fact, some of my favorite comic book stories ever have been Elseworlds, you know? Now, here's the alternate timeline problem. What was that one you were just mentioning? The Thrall one. Shoot, what was it called? We were just talking about that. Twilight of the Aspects. Twilight of the Aspects was just, hey, Shiryu, was a great example of why I absolutely despise alternate reality settings. It's just like, oh, hey, and then Blackmore is back for no reason, and then this guy's back, and then oh god, and now we're going to switch to this alternate reality where everything's terrible, but it's okay because we're going to bring this character from this other alternate reality, and I need to stop attacking. No, don't die, damn it. And it's just meaningless. It removes meaning from the thing. It does the exact opposite of what I like about an Elseworld story. Let me give you a direct example of this. Actually, I don't want to talk about Warlords yet. So I'm not going to use that as a direct example. But, yeah, it's just... Oh, we could have a thing where this character is, you know, dead forever or whatever. Or, you know what we could also do? We could have a thing where it doesn't actually matter because there's an alternate version of them that can come back. Yes, this quest is really lame. I'm half tempted to just skip it. There's not really a lot of lore to discuss. In fact, you know what? There's no lore to discuss here.
Yeah, what do you want?
Goodbye.
Be good.
Bye forever. Okay, hang on. That looked like a follow-up to Stone Mall.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, that's
Pleasure
not what I thought
doing
it was.
business with ya.
See you around, Zebros. Actually, we have done that in the past, Vimes. We have tried to have a few online things. We don't do our actual recorded sessions live because, you know, editing goes into that. Abandon that stupid quest. But, yes, I did, Shuryu, because a lot of people were complaining about quality, or not quality, excuse me, about the disconnection issues, and well, I gotta be honest, I was kind of pushing the limits of what I could stream anyways. The reason I had the higher quality was more for the YouTube VODs than for the Twitch stuff, you know? Because I'm not a Twitch partner, so I have lower priority on streaming. So my actual quality cap is technically 3,000, but it's effectively closer to 2,000. And I was streaming at 2,500, which Twitch would periodically be like, nope, screw you, and it would just take away from the from people who you know, don't have the best of connections to Twitch, or, you know, because Twitch was putting the bandwidth elsewhere. So rather than continue to punish my Twitch viewers in favor of YouTube viewers, I decided to just go ahead and lower the quality and say screw it. I have total... Alright, so, yeah, so, I don't know. It's really hard to explain why I don't like the alternate timelines thing, other than the fact that it really does... It feels like cheating to me as a writer. Imagine if I had this massive, in-depth story about this character and went through this whole character arc and he died. And it was a major death and I kept it. He is dead. He is staying dead. That's it. The end. No change. And then there's an alternate universe where he didn't die and that alternate universe self comes back and that's how we bring the character back. God, I hate that stuff. It just feels to me like it completely invalidates everything. You know what I mean? And I know that is mostly my own opinion on the matter. I will admit that. Alternate universes can be done correctly. I just tend to hate the concept in general, probably because I've seen it done poorly so many times. Yes, Archimon should have stayed dead. Bingo! I was trying really hard not to use that example, but gosh darn it. We've even known about the demons coming back thing for a while, but the way Archimon died was such a unique method of destruction, and such a powerful method of destruction, that it should have stuck. And it didn't. And now the Legion can just switch between planes and realities infinitely, and... Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm done ranting. Point being... Point being that I really don't like the fact that originally it wasn't presented that way. Originally, so let's talk about time travel for a moment, okay? There are 3 primary methods of time travel in fiction. And in real life. No, I'm kidding. The way it works is usually one of these 3 methods, okay? Number 1, you can change the timeline. So in other words, if you go back and do something, time is altered, okay? Whether or not the time traveler is protected from that time alteration and therefore remembers it, that usually depends on the setting. But that is the first form of time travel. Time alteration. Second time of time travel, I believe there's actually a better term for this, but I've always called this time as a linear line. Time as a linear line, which means if you time travel, you always time traveled. Everything that you ever do through time travel always ever happened. Final Fantasy VIII is actually a really good example of this. So there is no alteration to the timeline. There's no alternate timelines. Time is a linear line. That's why I call it that, right? The third form of time travel is anytime any form of time travel happens, there's another alternate reality that comes out as a result of it. And I absolutely hate that form of time travel. Here's the idea of that form of time travel. Let's say I go back and kill Hitler. No, that's a bad example. Let's say robots take over the Earth, okay? And as a last-ditch effort, I go back and stop the robots from taking over the Earth. Yes! All the people I left behind are still enslaved by robots in their different timeline. All I have done is created a branching timeline which is now different. And in every way that matters, these are now different people in different circumstances, different timeline, different everything. And I absolutely hate that idea. I absolutely hate that idea. Yes, Jedi the Infinites comics are Elseworlds. I forget if DC or Marvel came up with the term Elseworlds, but I've been using it ever since to describe that type of story. Well, what Vimes points out is actually valid. So let's say I go back and kill Hitler, and time has changed. For me, who's back in the past, and those people. But this timeline is still here. Hitler was still in this timeline and still took over. Hence the branch. It's just, I hate that crap. So, here's the catch. WoW originally had the alteration time idea. It's one timeline, but you can change it. That was how it was originally presented. Then they changed their mind, and then they made it the alternate presentation. And then they changed their mind again. Warcraft Chronicles may actually change this a third time, but as of this moment, WoW actually uses kind of a weird in-between when it comes to, hey Last Echo, when it comes to time travel. It's like this. According to the current idea, we have one timeline that is referred to as the prime timeline. That's actually what it's called. This is the timeline that matters. All other timelines are irrelevant by the perspective of the Titans and the Bronze Dragonflight. So they can and will do anything they want with an infinite variety of timelines, an infinite alternates here, as long as they don't change the prime timeline. So the Bronze Dragonflight actively goes around to these other timelines and meddles all over the place. And messes with things and manipulates things and just does all sorts of stuff. But whenever it comes to the prime timeline, all they ever do is try to change things. So if you're paying attention, what's actually happening here is the time alteration thing, the first type of time travel that happened. It's just we happen to have multiple dimensions, each of which has their own time travel. Make sense? So just think of it as just lines. Think of it as a whole bunch of different lines. They're not actually connected to each other. So if you're someone who has the ability to cross dimensions, you can hop from line to line, but the Bronze Dragonflight goes way out of the way to try and make sure that nothing changes the prime timeline. And again, if you make changes to your timeline, you're not branching off a new timeline, you are only affecting your timeline. So like I said, it's kind of an in-between of Type 1 and Type 3 time travel there. And that is the current method of it. Again, to be completely honest, I'm not even sure why they would bother at that point with the with that method. Oh yeah, I've seen that Zoan Joker. That was one of the first previews. Oh, excuse me, that came out about the book. Okay, so moving on. Hey, what's up?
See you later.
Okay, so let's just finish these quests up.
How
There's
are
really
you?
no lore to talk about here, other than the fact that the Grim Totem
See you around.
are evil bastards.
Hello. Have a good one.
I mean, I hate to say that, but it's true. Look, we're already done with the quest here. There's really not a lot of lore to this zone, so I'm going to kind of blaze through it a little bit. The real quest chain I want to do, actually, is this one, so I'm just going to start focusing on that one. Another interesting thing, by the way. I'm not genociding anything at the moment, Last Echo. I'm actually trying to solve a murder mystery. Seriously. That could be Pyro, but I would actually say at that point it was Amon Thul who created the Prime Timeline, not the Bronze Flight. Because we do know for a fact Amon Thul flat out told Nosdormu, this is the Prime Timeline, this is the one you should care about. So, I still believe that the Titans have the ability to generate a Prime Timeline. The best possible timeline. Now, I'm going to go and explain Warlords as best as I can with this one. This is so stupid. You're like, well, hang on. Warlords is an alternate timeline, but it's connected to ours. Yes. You remember how I mentioned, like, there's these lines. Each line is a different timeline? Try to imagine there's, like, a ladder going in between these two timelines. And it's at an angle because it's from their past to our future. But for all intents and purposes, it is actually effectively still two separate timelines. And it's just there is a branching connecting point that is maintained there between the two. If that makes any sense. Which, well, I mean, it does make sense. It's just stupid! But anyways, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. Warlords can go away. I don't want to be too arrogant about Warlords. So let's figure out this murder mystery. What the hell happened to that poor house? Fun fact, this murder mystery was actually unsolved back in vanilla. It wasn't until the 2.3 revamp that we actually got a conclusion to it. And it's like, oh, that's what happened. Oh.
King's honor, friend.
Have you found evidence from the Shady Wrist Inn? I'm no expert with the construction of arms and armor, but their use, yes, but not their making. The shield seems as ordinary as any, except for the fire damage.
Go with honor, friend.
Hoofprints, huh? It's true there is an extraordinary amount of centaur activity in the lands near the Dustwallow Marsh. In brief excursions with the Barons, we found their camps dotting the area. I'll send out Fastgren Hasta, one of our best trackers. We'll see where these tracks lead.
Light bless you.
Yes, Pyro? I thought we were on agreement on this. And yes, I'm very excited for Legion lore. Absolutely. We have never actually seen a Titan on camera, Vimes. What you were referring to is known as Watchers. But we do imagine, we do speculate that the Titans are evil. We just don't actually know that for certainty. Have you found anything of interest at the Rest Inn? Well, we did find this badge. It's never good news when a guard's badge is brought to me. Sometimes it's a man or a woman who's fallen in battle, and I'm left to give the news to the grieving family. Other times we find out what happened to them, and then times it's worse than that. I don't recognize the name of Lieutenant Pavel Reed. Your best bet would be to check with Adjutant Tessorn. He keeps track of all our records.
Be careful.
Oh, you were referring to
Go with
Algalon,
honor, friend.
Vimes. Algalon the Observer, which is basically a security program for the Titans, whose job it is to determine whether or not a planet needs to be re-originated. Again, not actually a Titan. Hey, Lonely.
Hey there.
Hello, Leaf Song. You'd like information about a specific member? Wreath, was it? Give me a moment to find the right book. Red Path. Red Path, by the way. Here it is. Lieutenant Pavel Reeve. Joined the Thermore Guard along with most of the recruits that came across the sea with Proudmoore. Enlisted in the Marines of Kulturas at age 16. Distinguished service, promotions. Listed as missing.
See you later.
Good question, Zoan. I don't know the answer. I'm going to keep referring to Chromie as a she, by the way, because I don't know how to answer that question. It is also possible that Chromie just had, in the past, jumped around the Prime timeline a lot. So, it really shouldn't be that pixelated. Not sure why we're having that issue. I mean, we've lowered the quality, but not... the quality's been lowered for days. Nothing's new about that. So, if it's extra pixely today, something else is going on. No, I'm still in the right... I'm still in the same settings here. Whatever, I suppose.
Need help?
Missing? That would be Tisserand's kind way of saying traitor. No doubt he's one of those fools blindly loyal to Admiral Dalen that he turned traitor. Isn't that delicious irony? The deserters accuse us of betraying the Alliance. It's been a struggle maintaining presence in the marsh, but through strength of our resolve, we have been able to maintain several defensive watchtowers. The latest information and scouting reports I have indicate a group of deserters squatted on an abandoned tower at Lost Point. The local lieutenant seems to be Ballos Jacken. See if you can get some information out of him.
For the Alliance.
Well, let's see what we
Light
can find
bless
out.
you.
Yeah, give me a second, guys. We have only one actual real picture. Until the Warcraft Chronicles book comes out and probably gives us new pictures of what the Titans actually look like. If you will give me a moment. Since this is apparently a point of contention, just have to find the file. I have a lot of files. What do you want from me? There they are. Okay, so you see these guys? Bam! These are the Titans. In fact, I can even name several of them. That guy in the far upper left, that's the magic guy. I forget his name. So I guess I can't name him. The female there is the life one. The one on the far right is actually Sargeras. The one in the lower left is the crafter guy whose name I can't think of. Anyways, these are the Titans. This is basically the only actual image we have of them. The only official image we've had of them. We've had some fan art of them. We've had a few other people doing sketches of them. But to my knowledge, and again, the book will probably change this. This is it. This is all we got as far as images for Titans. I'm actually second. There was one other image that I remembered of a Titan picture. It was done in the RPG book. I can't find it right now. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It was the RPG book and therefore wasn't actually canon anyways. But yeah. Big, bronze, metallic, artificial creatures. Actually, Gemkey, I'm guessing you weren't here for that discussion, but based on some information that's already been leaked from the WoW Chronicles book, it's actually really, really likely that Elune is in fact a Titan. That's really weird, Dakota. We don't know that yet, Bragwin. That's still speculative. The Warcraft Chronicles book will probably confirm that or deny that once it actually comes out. Next week, by the way. But yeah, Elune is either the nascent Titan that's referenced at the core of the world, or is a Naru, or is something else entirely. Those are the three possibilities for what Elune is, and we don't actually know the answer yet. We are still not actually aware of what Elune actually is. We will find out next week, I guarantee you, because they already mention her several times in context, and that's why the whole she's a Titan thing kind of comes. Thank you, Zawan. So we've got Amanthul, that's Mr. Time. Norganon, he's the crafter. Khazgaroth, who I believe was the Shaper, the Earth guy. Sargeras, of course. Agramar, I forget who he was. Aenar, who was, of course, Life. I'm trying to remember which one of them was the magic one. But yeah, if Elune is in fact a deity, she is actually the only deity who exists in the setting. Everything else is provable by some other method that makes them not a deity. I mean, they're more powerful than humans, but they're not actually what you'd call a god. They're just powerful spirit entities, or titans, or giant bounds of magical void flesh, you know. I really hope not, Takoida, since the whole point of the WoW Chronicles book is to actually outline the lore without teasing for once. I mean, I get teasing. I do. I do it myself in my own writing. But every now and again, there comes a point where you just have to sit down and say, okay, here's what actually is, you know. For example, I can tell you right now that the Ulthoi are not native to Primus. Now, that's mostly teasing, but that is a factual thing. And now you can speculate on that if you actually care enough to do so. Okay, wow. Those guys are all red. So, no, Vimes, that's coming out like in September or something. Yeah, they've been teasing for a little bit too long. Oh my god. Ugh. Oh, right. I'm not on my... Oh, God, I thought I was on my monk. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay, I think I can pull this off. Just need to be a little more careful. Yeah, I'm with you, Takoida. I agree. Teasing is overused. You do a little bit of teasing, and that's good. I mean, teasing is a part of writing. That's absolutely a factual thing. And then you give the reveal. As someone who watched X-Files for 7 freaking years, it took a little bit too long, or however many years it was. It took a little bit too long for them to get to the point where they actually started revealing stuff. You know? We'll see when it comes out, Goldner. I'm gonna watch it, obviously, but yeah. Right. Right. We surrender. Just put down your weapons. I'll cooperate. Vimes send you? Vimes sent us, guys, to kill this guy. Wreath? That coward. We threw him out of the camp because he insisted on raiding supplies of ogres. We're not so many in number we could stand up to those mindless brutes. He crossed the line too many times, so we left him to fend for himself. I helped you all. Why don't you help us out and forget you bumped into us? Damn it, Vimes! Why'd you send us after that guy? Come on, man. How could you do this to us? Anyways. Oh my god, BC quests. Go over here. 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 Ah, BC quests. Anyways. So, hey, Javan, holy crap, man. Where have you been? Seriously, I'm getting a little worried about you, man. Oh, it's because it's WoW. That's why you don't care. Gotcha. Never mind. Okay, so, I was saying something. These are Theramore deserters. They would call themselves Theramore loyalists. These are the guys who are loyal to Admiral Proudmoore, a.k.a. Jaina's father. Now, Jaina's father, well, it's really simple how this works out. Their point of contention is actually really, really simple. No peace with the Horde. This is where the cracks in the seams of this zone kind of show, because that quest technically should have happened back during Vanilla, not during Kata. So the reason they are deserters is because of the fact that they believe the Horde and Alliance should be at war. And they believe the Alliance should be using their position out here and their magical prowess and their technology to try and build up and go back and fight the Horde and wipe out the Orcs, just like the Admiral wanted. March 22nd, Shantron. I know the exact day. Yes, Admiral Proudmoore died in Frozen Throne. And yes, Vimes, that is correct. Anixia's lair is, well, it's basically in that direction if I was to go through the marsh for a bit. So yeah, it's literally their party line. They are here because they feel that trying to have peaceful coexistence with orcs is treason. And so they have deserted because they believe Theramore is anti-alliance. And I find that wildly funny. And again, it's kind of this zone, because it wasn't changed in Kata, again, kind of falls through the cracks there because it feels like we're suddenly in the past, because we basically are. Wow, Javan. I am so glad I am not forced to vote. Although Right, you know what? No politics, no politics. I don't want to get into it. Let's just say for the first time in years I have a strong opinion about the presidential candidacy here in the States. We probably are, Gemkey. Why would I explore the map? Pshaw. But like I said, I wanted to kind of continue the theme of this area, show off the highway, and I wanted to do this one quest chain. And this is actually basically the only quest chain I'm doing here, other than a single Horde quest chain. So much of this stuff is not changed, and isn't actually lore relevant. Only on Halloween, Lofus.
Well met.
I'll send Lieutenant Caldwell to deal with the deserters. In addition, I'll instruct him to find Wreath. The marsh is not so big and trackless. He should be unable to find him.
Go with honor, friend.
I'm sorry I can't be of much help, Leaf Song, but I can refer you to someone who would. Kaz Twosprocket, one of our best blacksmiths who works at the forge at the smithy.
For the Alliance.
Let's see what we can find out here. They could destroy Stonard and no one would notice. Hey, Stonard was destroyed. Where? Absolutely yes, I do, Shiryu. And it drives me crazy when I just can't get that one last spot. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about it. I do have a strong feeling about this year's presidential candidacy, and that's really all I feel I'm going to say. We can talk about Warcraft politics all you want. We've been talking about that for weeks now. Holy crap.
Hi, how are you?
The Black Shield.
Interesting bits of iron you have here. Definitely not made by any blacksmiths I know are on this side of the sea, and it's certainly not my work. I almost missed this. The leather strap must have been burned off. It's made to fit a large person. I'd guess a Tauren, actually. Alrighty then.
Dun, 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 dun. I do love this song right here, by the way. I wish I did, Gemkey. God, I wish I did. Ugh. We appear to be fighting a Kraken right now.
Hello.
Go ahead and grab
See
that
you later.
quest. Sorry, I've got to kind of pick and
Can I help you?
choose a few of these.
Have
Yep,
a good
okay,
one.
so those are new quests. We'll go ahead and do those two. Oh, congrats, Bragwin. Let me guess. It's the horrible one. We never actually fully talked about that, no. We just mentioned it. To make one thing clear, so you remember those Baal Madon dwarves who massacred, basically, innocent civilian Taurens back before Vanilla? You remember those guys? Those weren't actually Alliance dwarves. They were not actually part of the Alliance military or the Alliance forces. Now, they were more than happy to link up with the Alliance when the Alliance actually came over here across the sea during the Cataclysm War, but those dwarves were not them, and that is actually a really important thing to keep in mind, because as much as the Alliance was messed up in Vanilla, and they were, mostly thanks to Onyxia, even they didn't order the random massacre of Taurens over a misunderstanding while the Taurens were holding out a peace offering. Anyways.
Lightly with
It's not much information to work on. We'll have to keep this in mind. Hopefully other pieces of this mystery will fall into place.
Be careful.
I've spoken with Inspector Taram regarding the evidence you gathered from the ruins of the Shady Rest Inn. He seems certain the hoofprints and the shield you point to the Grim Totem. With Grim Totem activity on the rise in the marsh, this has to be more than a mere coincidence. I'm sending you to speak with Captain Darrow. He's something of an expert on the Grim Totems.
For the Alliance.
I would have liked that Jedi Mew, but of course we didn't see that because these are basically BC quests. So, you know. It depends on the individual case, Pyro. It really does. It depends on how it's presented. Of course, Gemkey. I mean, that makes sense, right? And Javan, yeah. We offer you peace, then die! So let's read this Deserter's Quest, because this is kind of relevant. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's good to meet you, Druid. I've come to Theramore to help eliminate the problem of the deserters. Not only have some of the men abandoned their posts, but some of them are filtering back into town. These deserters' agents are spreading lies and propaganda, hoping to convince others to join their ranks. They're at virtually every guard post throughout the town and the docks. Find them, expose them, discredit them. At this point, anything more risks inspiring more sympathy for them. So, again, the situation here is just really, really funny. Well, I believe we'll be doing it, Permeus, if I picked up the right quest, which I think I did. That Kraken quest is one of the very, very few quests that's new to Kato. So we're going around stopping agitators from trying to convince other Theramore soldiers to fight the Horde. You could play basically everything in the entire game by yourself, King Guldar. So,
Good day to you.
you seem like a sensible druid friend. Do you remember of the glory days, back before Jaina made us give up the fight against the Horde? Are you sick of being told to stay your blade while the orcs continue to provoke us? Your propaganda won't work on me. Spout your treasonous filth elsewhere. Now get back to the warfront and go fight the Horde.
See you around.
It's people like you who weaken the Alliance and invite the Horde to take away all we've fought for. Like I said, this is happening during BC.
You need something?
Think you can stop us? You're mistaken, friend. I'm faster than you.
What can I do for you?
Ironically, we'll be doing very, very little stuff here, Horde-wise. Where's the... Oh, I thought there was another one up here. I've actually already given my thoughts on that, Vimes. Basically, I do think that they were completely different people while they were under the Blood Curse, and therefore, while, you know, it's not like, you know, friends be big Igons and all that kind of thing, they should be allowed some amount of clemency on the matter, and not automatically treated as if they're demonic, raging murderers.
Hey there. Safe travel.
Now, if you're referring to Grom in Warlords, that's a completely different situation, and one that I don't even want to deal with. Do I have to beat the... Hang on a second. Oh, okay, I can kill them. She specifically said not to kill them. What the hells? Okay, fine.
Good day to you.
I'll just
See
murder
you
you
later.
then. I mean, it's okay. I don't mind murdering you. Goodbye. I mean, these treacherous scum want to fight the Horde! Pah! Keep in mind, I just came from the
Hello.
South Barrens.
Safe travels.
Because, you know, we, Anywho.
How are you?
Oh, hey, I didn't have to kill that one. Yay! You know, I should just skip this zone.
Good day to
There's
you.
so little to talk about here. I think we managed to catch them off guard. Their agents probably thought themselves safe in the city walls. Given time, the agitators will return and spread their lies again. But we will never go to fight against the Horde. The deserter agents were doing far more than just chatting up the guards. We found a number of leaflets. Oh my god, leaflets! No! The ship used to transport the leaflets is still in Theramore at the farthest dock. If you can sneak aboard and capture the rest of their propaganda, their agents will lose their most powerful tool!
Safe travels.
Let's get a good shot at the docks over here. There we go. I've heard that theory too, Zoan. It's a shame it's basically been proven wrong now. There's no source for it, Gemke. It is pure speculation. But if you're wondering where that speculation comes from, the Warcraft Chronicle book details how the Dark Trolls... This is stuff that was in the preview, so this is not technically a spoiler, because it's already been spoiled by them in the preview. Anyways, so the The Dark Trolls, the ones who eventually became the Night Elves, hey, call me Fives, had interacted with this creature called Elune. They weren't entirely certain who or what it was, but whatever this creature was taught them all sorts of Titan words and Titan terminology, right? Furthermore, there is a Titan inside Azeroth. Now that's it. That's the evidence right there. Those 2 bits of information. But that did kind of get the mind thinking, you know? Yes, Dark Trolls are the specific brand of trolls that turned into the Night Elves. And yes, printing presses do exist within Warcraft. Crates filled with leaflets denouncing Lady Jaina and encouraging Theramore guards to join with the deserters. Yeah, I'd make the joke here about as if Theramore would ever get destroyed, but it's a little too obvious for me, so I think I'll just move on. The original Night Elves were Dark Trolls, so I suppose the answer there would be technically no. Dark Trolls mutated because of the access to the Wells of Eternity into Night Elves. Well, like I said, my current running theory is that it is Elune, that she is a new Titan. The idea that there is such a thing as new Titans was actually something new as of the Warcraft Chronicles book.
How are you?
Excellent. All that remains is to discredit the deserters so they'll never again force us to go to war with the Horde.
See you around. Safe
It would
travels.
be a shame to let these leaflets go to waste, wouldn't it? What are you doing? Walking on tables, obviously. With a little creative editing, these are much more useful.
Hey there.
I've altered the leaflets you captured from the deserters' mercenary friends. Now anyone who reads them will get an entirely different view of the deserters and their aims. If we distribute enough of these, the deserters will be too embarrassed to reestablish their presence. Why don't you get started while I plan our next move?
Have a good one.
Okay, sure. Have you...
You need something?
Need help?
You look like an intelligent person. Why don't you read through one of these leaflets and give it some thought?
Farewell.
Hey, thanks. Read. Receive 50% off deserter undergarments? This is a joke, right? If you join the deserters, you get 50% off deserter undergarments.
Hey there. Safe travels.
Read. The deserters seek a Theramore where citizens will be free to juggle at all hours of the day? This is the funniest thing I've read in a long time. You just made my day. Ah, the innocent days before we were in a state of total war.
Greetings.
And before this was a crater.
Well met. Be careful.
And no, I don't, Zawan. Sorry. Read. As a deserter, you'll enjoy activities like tethered swimming and dog grooming? We here at the Deserters firmly believe in dog grooming.
You need something? For the Alliance.
What can I do for you?
Read. To establish the chicken as the official symbol of Theramore. That's what the Deserters really want. I don't know about you, but I long for the old days when chickens were the symbol of power and authority and majesty.
Greetings. Be careful.
To create a fund for the purchase of hair gel. I like my hair the way it is. Thanks. I think we've dealt with the deserters sufficiently. What do you guys think? I have to admit, a brand new player who knows nothing of this stuff probably goes through and is just completely confused by this whole quest chain.
You need something?
Especially since they've probably come here straight from the South Barrens. I thought I heard laughter from the barracks. Did you redistribute those leaflets I sent you? Just as I'd hoped. I think it's safe to say any deserter agents who try to infiltrate Theramore will be laughed out of town. Now that we've eliminated the deserters in Theramore, it's time to complete this operation. My local contacts have reported the deserters' base have a base of operation and a ship moored on a small island southeast. Arresting their leader should cause the others to lose the will to fight. Convince him to surrender. I wouldn't be surprised if he puts in a bit of a fight, but he surrenders when he understands he can't win.
See you around.
Hello, Jengis. Those are interesting times that I was not alive for, Jengis. Or Javan, not Jengis. You must start with a J. What do you want from me? We'll do the Lighthouse in a second. Jemki, Jengi, and Javan are 3 people in my chat right now. My tongue is going to be destroyed soon trying to say all your names. Excuse me. Oh, you son of a... Well, I have to follow my own rule now. There, killed him. Gotta go quick before the other player does it. Quick! Yeah! And now to die horribly. Ah! There, okay. I surrender. Stay your blade. I'll go with you. Just spare my men. They're good lads who only made a mistake. They're just sleeping. It's cool, guys. It's cool. By the way, you know what I love about physics? So, what am I standing on here? Am I standing on anything? No, I mean, obviously I'm not, but yeah, just... Moving on. Look, Javan, I don't know what Lilicor has been telling you. Probably quite a while, Jengis. So, I give up. Nobody noticed, so I'm just gonna go and tell you. Anyone notice something different behind me here? I was actually going to just let it go and see if anybody noticed, but nobody has. And we've been streaming for like over an hour and a half, so, yeah.
Can I help you?
And I can use all the effort you can help.
Be seeing you.
That's right. This, right here. There's the Broken Isles. This is also the new Eastern Kingdoms and the new Kalimdor map here. You can tell because the Thousand Needles is right here in this giant lake thing, and Oldham is a little more defined, and this looks like the new Ashara instead of the old one. And of course, Northrend is actually a little bit different as well. So, new overworld. Oh, also Pandaria, which you can't even see. Hang on. Bam! There's Pandaria, right behind me. Guys, Pandaria is supporting me. It makes a lot of sense, really. So anyways, just wanted to show off the new map. That's a good question, Zoan. I imagine this is the intended, like, the intention for it. Like, if you pay attention to the actual picture... if you'll give me just a moment here to pull up my own image of it. Which, of course, I put it in this folder, not the other one, because I'm an idiot. Hang on. There it is. If you notice... Well, okay, you can't quite notice, but the difference between the old Maelstrom picture and the new Maelstrom picture is the new Maelstrom picture is way more subdued. And based on certain events that have already happened in Kata... and some events I'm aware of in Legion, it would make sense that the Maelstrom has literally weakened. So... yeah, I know, right, Stukov? It's like, alright, so we're gonna go like this as the Alliance. Keep in mind, the Broken Isles have been up since Warcraft 2. These have been up and about since Warcraft 2. This is not new. They've always been there. Since Gul'dan went and raised them from the ocean floor. Again, in Warcraft 2. So, I mean... But anyways. So, moving on. I mean, at least Pandaria had a reason we couldn't find it. Alright, so... the old log in the lamp house indicates that the lamp was fueled with oil from the fleshers. Okay.
Alrighty then.
We'll go ahead and do that really quick. This shouldn't take long. Although, in fairness, I guess we always knew the Broken Isles were there. We just didn't really have a large reason to care. I mean, really. Because, again, those have been up there since Warcraft 2. In fact, we've been there in Warcraft 3 twice. Once during the the demo mission. Once during the demo mission of Warcraft 3, where we recruit the Dark Spirituals, and once during Frozen Throne, when we go back there after Illidan. Wow, this drop rate. What happens if Gul'dan finds his own corpse? He spits on it and says, "You are weak. I am the true Gul'dan." I don't know. Now, the better question is, where the hell is Kul'Tiras? Damn it. I got a better question for you, Psychotic. What happens when Gul'dan finds the skull of Gul'dan? Because that's something that could actually happen. Even ignoring him finding his own bones inside the tomb. Gul'dan squared. But yeah, when I saw the new world map, as it will be revealed in... This is actually the new world map from Legion back here. And I found this image today, and I'm like, oh, dude, I need that image for my thing. And so I played with it for a bit, and here we go. It is now here forever. Well, that's an interesting question, because the Eye of Sargeras, we have no idea where that actually is. Why am I not swimming? Since the last we saw of it, it was actually at Lorerun, in Illidan's control.
Hi, how are you?
Were you able to get the Thresher Oil? I have my doubts, but this is the only solution available right now. Once we have it up and running, I'm sure there'll be time to make other ways to fuel the lamp. You know, it's amazing what you can find in that old lamp house. After I lit the lamp, I noticed this one book in the old trunks up there. Behold, the dastardly denizens of the deep! Why, I think I might swoon if I ever saw one of these. I'm sure it's a good for a laugh or two, but I simply won't have time for reading it right now. You know who'd enjoy it, though? That fishmonger on the docks.
You have a great day now.
Okay. Actually, in all honesty, as of right now, to my knowledge, there's only two things we don't have on the world map. We don't have the South Seas area with Undermine, which should be, like, right behind me here-ish, I want to say. And we don't have Kul'Tiras, which should be right around here. Well, she wants to light the lighthouse. That lighthouse is actually new. Which is funny, because I don't believe they had a lighthouse before, and lighthouses serve a very, very valuable function to a port. But anyway, so the gnome was insisting that a lighthouse would help them, and for some reason they were skeptical of that, and I don't know, I guess the Theramore Alliance people were really stupid or something. I don't know, Zoan. Truthfully, it depends on what the Skull of Gul'dan has actually done to previous people, whether it corrupts them or, you know, inhabits them. It is probably the truth that it corrupts them, though, and therefore we will just see Gul'dan corrupted by his own stupidity, basically.
How are you?
What'll be today? The snook is good today. Hey, Azura. Well, now that's thoughtful of old Babs to send that over here. I don't know if you've leafed through it or not, but there's a lot of truth and tales in that book. Sailors didn't just make it all up, you know. Oh, I'm sure you and Babs had a good laugh over the outlandish description sketches in the book. You stop to consider there might be some truth to the legends? You listen closely enough, I bet you can hear sailors talk about Tether, the sea creature the book says lives right here. Of course, you want to know about that, you can always task old Nat Pagel. Nat Pagel? He'll never amount to anything. Before we do this, though.
Good day to you.
Javis's request isn't as outlandish as it might sound. With the proper handling, Lady Jaina can return to the deserters to the fold, but that's her decision, of course. Aside from the ones you murdered in cold blood, naturally. It's been a pleasure working with you. Without your help, I doubt the operation would have gone nearly as smoothly. When I make my report in Stormwind, I'll name you as the druid who ended the deserter threat.
See you later.
Yay. I'm so glad to have helped defeat the deserters in our war against the Horde. Actually, Illidan did have several memories from Gul'dan, if you'll recall. Although he might not recognize them, so I guess that's a fair point. What are you talking about, Zoan? We all know where Nat Pagel comes from. South Shore. Seriously. That would be really funny, sure you. Yeah, sure, I'll help you with your deserter problem. Evil.
Hey there.
You want to buy on sea monsters? I'll make you a deal, but it's going to involve a lot of alcohol and some embarrassment on your part. So, I can tell you from experience, it's all true. I've even seen a few of them with my own eyes. But you want to know about Tether. Instead of make you deals, here's what I want you to do. I'm working on a new line of bait, but I haven't tested this one yet. Just take this paste, yeah, it smells a little foul, smear it on yourself, and swim to the southern part of the Deep Fury Cove. Let's see how it works.
See you around.
Okie dokie. Don't worry, guys. We're going to get Ashbringer soon from him. At least that's what I keep hearing. I know, Shiryu. I think it's funny at this point in history. I'm not sure, Psychotic. Thrall and Jaina have actually formally ended their friendship in lore. And that's never been repaired, too. And, yeah. God damn it. Force his own skull to drink the blood. That would be kind of interesting, I'll admit. So, during the incident where Jaina was nearly destroyed Orgrimmar. Oh, and in an alternate reality, she totally did destroy Orgrimmar. Yay, alternate realities. Anyways, there he is. So, anywho. Jaina, Thrall basically was using his own shamanistic power to try and hold back the elements that she was using to destroy Orgrimmar. And Kalik was actually the one who talked her down because and I'm kind of not joking about that. And Thrall was desperately begging her to think of the innocents and the civilians and all the people who probably shouldn't die because a few individuals were horribly evil. And she finally acquiesced, but basically as penance for this, she insisted that she and he were through and there would never be a friendship between the two ever again. And again, they have never been friends since that moment, so I suppose she was not speaking facetiously. She was kind of pissed after Theramore.
What can I do for you?
Which is funny, because that's not even the point at which she was most pissed. But we'll get to that later. Remember, the deal is you don't come back until something bites you. Not bad at all. But, you know, I think I'd get a bath as soon as possible if I were you. Now, about your sea monster, help yourself to a brew in the meantime. Yes, Krillin. Yes, Tether was certainly real. He lives in the waters off Theramore. Has a thing for bright lights. He's the reason they shut down the lighthouse in the first place, you know. If you light it back up again, he'll come right back. But no one in their right mind would do that. So that must be your plan. It's been good sharing a drink with you, but I don't blame old Nat if Tether really turns you into fish bait. If you're going to do this, make sure you consult the major hills first.
Have a good one.
Yeah, let's, yeah. Also, as much as I really, really, really do not like giving him credit, what happens in patch 5.1 in Pandaria is the one and only time Garrosh shows any cunning. He effectively ensures Jaina will forever be anti-Horde, which was part of his goal, and he ensures that the Blood Elves will not join the Alliance. Yeah. Best mount ever.
What can I do for you?
You recount your experiences with Nat Pagel, carefully omitting the portion about the bait test. Well, it sounds like we've got our work cut out for us. I'll make preparations. Sea monster or no, we're not going to take risks with the safety of our shipping. I've ordered our best marksmen to prepare a confrontation with this Tether. The artillerymen have augmented the dock's fire with 3 mortars. I'm going to order the lighthouse's lamp illuminated. If Tether does attack, it'll be your job to operate the mortars and down the beast.
For the Alliance.
Let's do it. Marksmen, form up. Take your positions. Oh, hey. That's actually kind of neat. Just the one time, Joven. Oh, hey, Tether. Or Tithir. I don't know. Alright, here we go. Death to Tithir! Oh, that's actually a lot of health. Okay. It was nice, wasn't it, Netherzoom? There's also a bit of... One of the only things I feel they did really right in Warlords... Well, I shouldn't say one of the only. Among the things they did right in Warlords was something they did with regard to that. But I don't want to talk about that yet, because it's Warlords. Because that's how that works. You know what? I think I do more damage than the artillery. Die, Tether. Die. Basically, Death Knight Arthas was trying to find his way to the Lich King, the first Lich King, and oh jeez, and so was Illidan, because Illidan was trying to kill him, and Death Knight Arthas was trying to save him. So that's how the two of them came into conflict at the foot of the Citadel. Okay. We did it.
Hey there.
Well done, Leaf Song. I'll admit, when I first caught a glimpse of the beast, I had my doubts our ability to defend the docks, but you held together the defenders brilliantly.
Be careful.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of it here.
Hello.
Yep.
See you around.
We're not doing that quest. There's nothing to talk about. There's a hermit over here, and he's crazy, and he wants you to go after ghosts. There. Where are we hearthed? Nowhere near here. So, I'm not going to talk about the atheist situation
You
yet.
need something?
For obvious reasons, really. Right.
Have a good one.
There's another quest that we're not... We're actually kind of skipping most of this zone, like I said. There's really not a lot to talk about here, and most of it's in the past.
Good day to you.
We are going
Safe
to do at least one
travels.
thing, though. Other than the fact that it is, in fact, a Kraken that is here, not that we're aware of. I could speculate, but it's speculating in an empty, in a vacuum. This way, right? I will say this, I don't think Aethys personally should be held responsible for what happened. He was culpable, yes, absolutely, I will agree with that. But I don't think he should be held personally responsible for what happened. Most of what happened rests on Garrosh and the player characters. And misinformation. Because, well, it boils down to this. Jaina had decided to... Times change. Jaina had decided to hold a powerful artifact in Dalaran. It is debatable if she was holding it there for the Alliance, or if she was holding it there as a neutral place. I don't remember if they ever fully clarify on that or not, forgive me. But the point is, one way or another, she was holding a powerful artifact there. Garrosh decided he wanted that artifact because I'm stupid and evil. And so he arranged for it to be... or no, I'm sorry. Rewind. I'm sorry. I'm telling the story wrong. The powerful artifact... This is... I was mixing up my stories. There's a powerful artifact that was actually in Darnassus. In the central Night Elven city. So clearly being held by the Alliance. That's why I was getting confused by that. Yeah, no kidding, Prog. So the Alliance had that powerful thing in Darnassus, and in order to bypass the protections of Darnassus, the certain individuals of the Horde, notably I forget his name and the player character, basically go through Dalaran in order to bypass and get straight into Darnassus, get the item, and get out. So in other words, they utilized a neutral location, Dalaran, in order to access an enemy location. That's the big thing that Jaina was really, really pissed about. That proved to be the final straw. Now, do I think she was right to be pissed off? Absolutely. Again, it is the final straw. The final straw does not necessarily have to be the biggest straw. It's just the one that finally breaks the back, right? I do think that there have been worse things that have happened to her, but I think that was basically enough is enough. This is stupid. Especially after she herself had gone so far out of her way to ensure that Dalaran would remain, and the Kirin Tor would remain neutral in the war that had been raging for a couple of years at this point. To have her neutral city violated by members of the Kirin Tor, really, singular, of the Kirin Tor was something she could not tolerate. So I get that. Then she really overreacted and went completely extremist in the opposite direction. And we'll see just how bad that gets live on both sides, actually. We will see that from the Alliance and the Horde perspective. The Purging of Dalaran is what it's actually referred to as. And then, and that pretty much ensured the Blood Elves would never join the Alliance, like they were actually about 3 steps away from doing. Not that Jaina knew about that, of course. But, yeah. And the funny thing is, Garrosh arranged all of that pretty much on purpose. But the thing is, that is such a Garrosh thing. I'm trying to give him credit, but at the same time, it's like giving him credit for him successfully punching him in the face, because he actually wanted. Yes, Varian scolded the crap out of her for that. He actually wanted Dalaran to be their enemy. He actually wanted the Blood Elves to never be able to join the Alliance. And, okay, so at least one of those is okay, but the fact that it's actually part of his goal to ensure that he has more enemies, that is such a Garrosh move. I don't even know how to say that. This is the same man whose actual strategy was take all of my supporters, put them all into one place, and let the enemy come to me because I want to fight. That was his legitimate strategy in Siege of Orgrimmar. As I've pointed out in the past, that's pretty much the reason why we got to do a little bit of a purging of the Horde. Because all of his supporters were there, and all of them were willing to fight to the death. If he had spread out, he might have been able to continue the fight for years, and we would have had this massive problem with literally facing guerrilla warfare against our own people. But no, he wanted to pull everyone back into Orgrimmar. Some of the Blood Elves are killed during the purging of Dalaran. But I do not believe Jaina did any of that herself. I'm almost positive she didn't. And what Norlex points out is also true. The man who actually did it was not a Sunreaver. Like I said, the whole situation, it's kind of like the South Barrens thing. And that's one of the reasons I like it so much, actually. If you don't see both sides, you're really only getting bits and pieces of the story. And both sides were very, very biased towards the other. And also made their own screw-ups. It's another no one's right, no one's wrong kind of a situation. And it shows. Garrosh is an awesome character to hate. Yes, Fallout. I love Garrosh and I hate Garrosh. I'm glad he's dead. Spoiler alert! But seriously, in my opinion, Garrosh is actually very, very well written. He's just a despicable bastard. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Garrosh united the Horde like no one else ever had. That's a lie. I think Thrall, when he initially made the Horde between the Darkspear, the Orc Remnants, and the Tauren, that initial founding of what we now refer to as the Horde, Thrall did that pretty well, so I'll give him credit there. But Garrosh really pulled the Horde together. All of us. Garrosh actually managed to turn Gallywix against him. I mean, think about that for a second. And Sylvanas. Although Sylvanas' motivations were a little bit... I am the one. I'm just going to be standing there over his corpse for the next trillion years, ensuring that no one ever brings him back. Ever. A campfire for Warchief. I remember that. I agree, Fallout. The Horde... I've been asked many times why I tend to lean more towards Horde, and I've given several answers to this. One of the other answers will actually be going ahead and showing on camera. It basically boils down to... There's nothing on the Alliance that really feels like we are brothers in arms to me. For me, the Alliance has always felt like an alliance of convenience. The only... I mean, even the Dwarves and the Gnomes, who should be buddy-buddies, aren't really. And the Dwarves and the Humans have been allies for a long time, but that's basically it. The Alliance has never actually felt like a family. It's never felt like an alliance. It's felt like a military cooperation. You know, a bunch of different powers who happen to work together kind of a situation. The Horde has felt like this for me, you know? In several points in history, actually. Again, the original Horde and the Horde post-Garrosh has felt very, very unified. Bonds of blood and all that I've already talked about. You know, a Tauren willing to treat a non-Garrosh orc who's willing to treat a troll as if they were literally family, as if they were literally blood brothers. I like that feeling. I like that that added connection the Horde has. Yeah, that is true. Of course, there is a flaw to that as well, as Raskar points out. Family can be a negative as well. Because, yeah. And of course, if something bad happens to any member of your family, the whole family responds, which can be an overreaction, and indeed has been at many points in the past. So, you know, a family is very easy to provoke. Because it gets so emotional. You hurt my brother, therefore screw you, all the Horde goes after... You know, that kind of a thing. I love the carvings between the roots there to allow passage to the docks. That's a nice touch. That'd be kind of cool. Although, as I've said before, I don't think Sylvanas should actually be redeemed at this point. It's not just that I'm tired of redemption stories. I actually like a good redemption story. But I really do think Sylvanas' character arc is taking her in a different direction. The only downside is that direction's so typical, it's almost kind of unfortunate. You know what I mean? Like, everyone in the world could predict where her character arc is going right now.
Can I assist you?
Chung.
Elune, light your path.
Regular mount speed. I feel cleansed. Yeah, her natural arc leans itself towards becoming the new Lich Queen, basically. And yeah, you're right, it is not always bad to be obvious.
Looking
I've been
for
asked
something
before,
specific?
you know, if I could come up with a non-obvious way for her character arc to go. Where would I go? Because the two obvious arcs for her character arc to go are Redemption and Lich Queen, right?
Safe travels.
So how else could we take that? I don't know if Vol'jin will stay War Chief. I never supported him as War Chief. Nothing against him, but I never supported him as War Chief. I do think someone else should take that mantle. She's Batman. Well, I have had one idea of a direction her character arc could go. It would involve her death for selfish reasons without her turning into a massive Lich Queen situation, and would also at the same time involve Arthas being transferred from the dark to the light. And as a consequence, the Forsaken will now be run by insert new Forsaken character here. And then the Forsaken could stop being hideously evil bastards. Give me my Forsaken back, damn it. I remember the Forsaken who were Forsaken, who were hated and feared by everyone, and so they bonded together because of bitterness and desperation and need for survival. That's the Forsaken I actually really liked as a species, and there's a reason why so many of my characters have been Forsaken characters. If both factions went full tilt at this point in time, the Alliance would win for two big reasons. Number one, the Horde is kind of spent right now, and number two, Jaina. Jaina Proudmoore brings the Kirin Tor on the side of the Alliance, and that is not an insignificant thing. Not resurrecting Arthas. I don't want Arthas to come back. I want Arthas to stop being in the dark. That's the important part to me.
What brings you here?
Captain Vimes. I'll make a contract with you, Samurai. I want infinite power forever. Captain Vimes thinks the Grim Totems are behind the destruction of the Shady Wrist Inn. They wouldn't have been the first of my line of suspects, but if Captain Vimes sent you here to follow up the lead, he must have his reasons. Regardless, the Grim Totems have been a thorn in our side for some time, and we're always glad to have the extra help.
Till next we meet.
The Grim Totems may be the most warlike of the Tauren clans, but they're by no means unorganized. If they're the ones who put the torch to the inn, they'll have orders from one of their clan elders.
Good luck, friend.
What do you mean, Nethrazim? My payment is the fact that I get turned into this horrible, terrifying creature of doom. And then die. I'll take that payment. Give me 2 days of unlimited power, and yeah, sure, I'll accept permanent death for that. If the equipment you found at the ruin of the inn belonged to a Grim Totem, it's likely to be more with it. So yeah, we're gonna go do that.
Be careful.
I was a Tier 2/Tier 3 network engineer.
Can I help you?
iCable.
See you later.
It was my job to make sure to keep everything running and run maintenance and handle tech support calls and all that kind of stuff overnight. That was my job back in the day. Do I want to know why you have green skin? Is that a thing I want to know? I was going somewhere with a story. Oh, right. So like I said, it's admittedly, I don't think there's anything necessarily bad with going the expected, obvious route story-wise. The only thing is, I'm kind of tired of WoW doing that. WoW has been going the expected, obvious route for some time, and it's not like they have to. They know how to pull a twist. They know how to actually make things unexpected happen. In fact, I like it when that happens. Maybe partially because of its rareness. So, with the situation with Sylvanas, I'm torn, because we could just literally have her be the new Lich Queen. You could still have the return of the Forsaken storyline as a result of that. Because you could literally have the Forsaken versus Sylvanas. And that would be a fairly easy and simple thing to do, relatively speaking. Technically never, Vimes. Because all it does is prevent you from thinking straight. It's gonna be up here. Excuse me. I don't know, what do you guys think? What would you actually prefer? Genuine question here. Oh, gosh darn it. I remember this stupid quest. Genuine question. If you could have your choice between Sylvanas becoming the new Lich Queen or Sylvanas being redeemed, which would you actually go for? You don't want to know, Javan. Seriously. Just let it be. Trust me. I've decided not to look at it, Sean. I've been told it spoils too much. And, yeah. The end, really. Wow, a lot of people saying Lich Queen. Those are the two expected answers, though, really. And she's been building up as a villain for a long time. There's a reason she went to the dark when she committed suicide. But that's just her being the new Lich Queen, John. To make my statement clear, I don't mean her putting on the Helm of Domination and conquering the Scourge. What I mean is her becoming a new undead threat. That's what I mean. I don't mean the Helm of Domination. Okay, just to make that fundamentally clear, since Javan misunderstood me there. And I'm cherry-picking. being killed by Greymane. The Helm of Domination is the Helm of the Lich King. It contains the essence of the Lich King. Not that I'm aware, Ricky, why? It contains the essence of the Lich King, and therefore is most of the actual evil and unpleasantness that is contained within being the Lich King. The current Lich King is Bolvar Fordragon. He died to the Forsaken Blight. He was then resurrected by Red Dragon Fire. So, yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about, Ricky. Like, seriously. But anyways, as I was saying, so yeah, I don't mean her actually becoming the Lich Queen, literally. I was speaking figuratively, forgive my terminology. What I meant was the idea of her becoming a whole new threat of doom all on her own, like she already is, actually. She is already a fairly large-scale threat. Without needing... Well, Nope, he's not even flagged. He just killed my quest NPCs without even being flagged for it. Wow. Hashtag other players. In case you're not aware, there's actually a horde quest to kill these guys, so they're not actually flagged. I remember that quest. Anyways, what was I saying? I've kind of lost track now. One of the reasons I don't want her to be redeemed is because she hasn't really done horrible evil stuff because she was corrupted. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, what, you don't have to be corrupted to be redeemed. Oh, hey, he's back. And that's true. But I tend to prefer it when someone is being redeemed from their corruption, like Saurfang or Arthas, rather than being redeemed from horrible evil things they did all in their own right, like Garrosh or Sylvanas. Both of them who did terrible things without ever needing some kind of external influence to make them do it.
I am honored.
There's no doubt about it. These match the description exactly. But that's just one problem. These have never been used in battle. Blackcliff Village might not be the only Grim Totem post in the march.
Till next we meet. Hello.
Were you able to find the orders? I was. Let's go ahead and read these orders. I have sent you a force of considerable size, Elder. Grom can go die as far as I'm concerned. He was a terrible, evil, horrible, relentless, brutal, vicious, murderous, torturous, terrible person without any external influence. I think we should chop his head off, but anyways. I have sent you a force of considerable size, Elder, but you must take care in your activities. Your first priority will be to halt the advance of the Alliance curs into our lands. Some of the more adventurous humans have already started construction of a large building on the border with the Barons. See to it that they know their kind are not welcome within the borders of their... beyond the borders of their wretched Theramore. Lastly, a word of caution to you, Elder. Do not make your plans known to the ogres of Brackenwall. Those brutes are incapable of even the slightest hint of discretion. And what are you linking me? Interesting and awesome picture. Oh yeah, that one line totally redeemed in Fallout. Totally. Totally. Can I chop his head off still? Regardless? Can I do that? Because I think I can. Yeah, I think I... So So in case you're missing this,
Can I assist you?
yeah. The Grim Totems here, this was back in BC,
Good luck,
admittedly.
friend.
And that's basically the end of our quest here, actually. Back in BC, the forces of the Grim Totem, who I want to remind you once again, the alliance allied with in Stone Talon, the forces of the Grim Totem decided, you know what? We're sick of the alliance being here, so let's go torch an inn and murder everyone who's there. This happened to be, basically, let's see, it was 2 children and a wife, and I think 1 worker were murdered in the inn. I forget the exact numbers. But basically, it was the family of the gentleman who ran the inn that the Grim Totem butchered. And then they burned the inn down. I really want to hammer this point in because this was not a military installation. This was not an alliance allied outpost. This was an inn. This is not Taurajo. This was an inn. And the Grim Totem decided to massacre those who were there and burn it to the ground. So in case you ever wondered one of the many reasons why I think the Grim Totem need to be extinguished from the face of reality, Exhibit B. Or I think actually Exhibit C at this point is what we're up to. Also, who here thinks Grom is totally someone that they forgive or redeem or whatever? Alternate Grom, not our Grom. The Grom who was a terrible, horrible person. I suppose I could see that, Raskor. I could understand the alternate perspective there. I still don't actually think that Sylvanas should be redeemed regardless, but, you know. Where's my notes? Where's my notes? Yes, okay, that's what I thought. I mean, seriously, it was just an inn. It was just a stopping point for people traveling between the Barrens and Dustwallow. That's all this was. Whatever. Moving on, as they say. Oh, those poor souls, Jamin. That's so wasteful. Let's toss them into the soul grinder instead. Meanwhile, this is technically a South Barrens quest, but it had nothing to do with the South Barrens, so I kind of wanted to spare it for now.
The winds guide you.
Do you bring news from up north? Yes!
Winds be at your back.
It's time to do some Silithid and some Quillbore quests. So what do we got here? Well, we've got Krogol's Silithid Field Guide. Oh, interesting. What do we got here? The Siluskilla, several misspellings are crossed out. Silithid are bug-type animals, not vegetables, at least without a fight. They live in underground, except where they are not. Some of them fly, I think. They taste real bad. Most Silithid are made of bug parts. They have between none and 8-ish legs, depending on how they died. Burning them makes them die. They have shelled called Kara pieces, because they are made from Kara, obviously. They can't be stabbed unless you do it hard. They can dig fast, but I don't know how fast they dig in the dirt. Origin of the Silithid. Almost all Silithid comes from holes, usually in the ground.
You wish to speak?
Ahem. You bring news from up north. Is this from Krogol? Wonderful! Despite all the turmoil in the world, we cannot turn our back on the Silithid threat. It's important to have people like Krogol studying our enemy closely and learning their secrets. She opens the book and glances over the first page. Her face falls. Oh. Well, I suppose it's something at least.
Walk with the Earth Mother.
We are here to monitor the scars of the land and watch for further signs of instability. While we haven't seen any yet cataclysmic aftershock that could we haven't seen it yet, a cataclysmic aftershock could devastate the Barrens even further. To the northeast, near the chasm, earth elementals rampage out of control. To soothe the earth, these need to occasionally be destroyed and their essence returned in a ritual.
Ancestors.
Hey, Doc
watch
Hazard.
over you.
Hello, little Billy. I felt bad for Nerf. I imagine you mean Neltharion? Oh, no, you mean... Who's Nerf? Help me out. do you mean Neltharion? Because I can explain that one easily.
What can I do for you?
You know, I have to admit, just really quick, the one thing that pisses me off most, the thing that pisses me off most that Grom did in alternate reality is pushing the Shadow Moon into war, and what he forced the Shadow Moon to do. Remember, the Shadow Moon were one of the most peaceful, overall, least warmongering of the various races. Or the various tribes, excuse me, the various clans of the orcs. Anyways. Nefarian? No, I can't recall any sympathy for Nefarian off the top of my head. I would ask a favor of you, monk. A warrior named Mancrick passed through our camp not long ago. His wife was killed by the Quillbore, and he still seeks revenge. I cannot forget his eyes, burning with inconsolable hatred every waking moment. We did not talk long, but I cannot bear to think of him out there all alone. Please, bring this to Mancrick and tell him it is from me.
Farewell.
Mancrick's furor over his dead wife raises further concerns. The Quillbore and Razorfen Crawl are far more ruthless and full of hatred than Mancrick could ever imagine. You should travel south and speak with my old friend, Ald Stonespire. He works to put an end to their rampage before the land suffers more than it already has in its weak condition.
Go forth to victory.
So let's go ahead and cleanse the land really quick from the debacle of Baal Madon. I don't know what else to call that. Just, yeah. In all seriousness, Javan, you will be bettered by not watching it. That is a legitimate statement from me. It is a bad trailer for what looks like to be a bad movie. Yes, they did finally find his wife. She is dead. She is actually buried. I could just even show you where her grave is if I felt like making the travel to North Barrens, which I don't. Ah, even in Cata. This will probably calm down any minute now. Gotta say, it's kind of a breath of fresh air playing my monk after playing my druid. We were referring to the Ghostbusters trailer. And hi, Sonic. Actually, Little Billy, there is real-life training you can do that. It basically involves slowly working your way up in what you can withstand and focusing exactly how you position. The exact way you position your fingers in your hands has a lot to do with it, and slowly building up your tolerance for greater and greater pressure. It takes a long time, and it takes a lot of work. Or, you could just be a monk. Well, it's funny you say that, Nethrezim. I will actually talk about that when we get there. I personally don't think they're weaker or stronger. I just think they are fundamentally different. You know? And that was the reason for the problem they were having.
How may
I have
aid
heard of
you?
it, Sonic Doctor. I have not watched it, no. The elements must be carefully balanced, so returning the essence is key. I hope you've been collecting it. Thank you, friend. It's important to try and calm this earth every way we can.
May the eternal sun shine upon thee.
Bingo, little Billy. As soon as you can punch sawdust, you're good to punch the world. By the way, further fuel to the fire that he was actually a Burning Blade orc. He literally has a Burning Blade banner.
Blood and thunder.
What is it? I'm busy. Maka sent you. His fury quells for a moment. It is a small comfort, but nothing can console me until I am done here.
Dabu. Loktar.
For a moment I thought my hatred had stilled. My wife laid to rest, a final offering of the blood of her murderers to quell my tortured spirit. I thought perhaps peace would appeal to me. I was wrong. I will not rest now until every filthy, squealing, murderous Quillbore lays dead and broken. I cannot kill them fast enough with my own 2 hands. Slay more for me, Pandaren.
For the Horde.
Basically, I think it's a lack of experience, Nethrazim. Try to remember the severe, incredible amount of magical and technological advancement that has happened between Warcraft 1 and Modern Era as a result of the events of the series. And also then keep in mind that Alternate Draenor hasn't had any of that yet. I literally think it's just inexperience and lack of skill. And ding! Damn it. Go ahead and ask, Mind Blast. I don't mind. Here I am, by some thorns. We'll find out in Legion, Krillin, in response to your question. Hey, grats, man! Suppose I'll pick up that quest. The bright red stone, found clutched in the grasp of the Quillbore, has been carefully carved into the likeness of a great boar, with thorny vines sprouting from its back. Its surface is smooth and worn with care. Did the Quillbore make this? Oh, shoot, I should have accepted that quest earlier. Don't even start, Javan. Don't even start. This is kind of unrelated, but I saw Zootopia last night. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I have to say that one of Pixar's weirdest trends is the fact that their plots may not be the best, but they are amazing setting builders. I actually really found the actual setting of Zootopia fascinating. Like, I'm actually considering adding it to the Imperium. No joke. You know, I'm not actually sure, Mind Blast. There are flags in the game for tons and tons of different faction abilities, and it's very easy for them to do a flag for friendly with Alliance and friendly with Horde. So even though they have the Thunderbluff, you know, physical tag, their actual tag and their code might be different, allowing them to be friendly to the Alliance. Yes, Ricky, that's the movie. And hey, Marley. You know, Nethrazim, I could actually see that, but probably not for reasons that occurred to me until just now. I am a white Siberian tiger, little Billy. I have been told that for many years, and so... shrug. Anyways, was I saying? The Gorian Empire is probably one of the bigger reasons why, in my opinion, why the elements would literally be physically, or I guess metaphysically, weaker on Draenor. And probably the Titans too, but that's getting really speculative. Oh, right, okay, so I should do that. Really quick here. Technically, I've been told I am 3 different animals, to be completely honest. White Siberian tiger, I forget the exact name, but it's a particular type of boa constrictor, and a Palas cat, if you happen to know what that is. I may be pronouncing it wrong. It means it was sufficiently interesting to me that I want to write for it, and I want to write for its setting. I want to add it to my own fanfic, if you will. I hate using that term, because everyone hates the term fanfic, and everyone thinks it's terrible and stupid, but it is an accurate term, and I will adhere to it.
Glory to the Horde.
These are blood shards. These used to be found all over the barrens. It is said they were formed from the blood of Agamagon, which I finally looked up how to pronounce, the great demigod that the Quillbore sprang from. I knew the Quillbore prized them, but nobody would think they'd take the time to care to carve this one. There may be more to learn here. I think the Quillbore are being driven by more than just crude desire. Would you help me look into this further? To the west, scattered along the Quillbore settlements and camps, I've noticed boar skulls. They gleam from a distance, polished smooth, distinct from the remains littered in their waste piles. I think these may be objects of worship.
Strength.
Mateus, excuse me. I have no idea, is the easy answer to that question. Long story short, I have not lived in the same domicile with Mateus in a very long time. A few years.
Zug.
Take you this reward. It is only a prelude. I no longer care for honor or glory, monk. All that matters is the Quillbore die, by any means, at anyone's hands. Mangletooth, the chief of these filthy Razormane, sits in his lair to the northwest, atop a hill. End his life. I plan to stay here and pile these bodies until no more vermin run squealing from the crawl to face me.
Go forth to victory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a shame, really. I do like the way Zootopia approached prejudice. I do. It showed both sides of it. Like, at first, I actually rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh, God. It's going to be all about the obvious prejudice of how the predators are putting down the prey. But then we saw the other side of it, too, and how there's negative prejudice going the other direction. I'm like, oh, okay, that's... I'm with that. Excellent. But whatever, I don't want to talk too much about that movie while we're playing WoW. I will say this. Zootopia in Kingdom Hearts I'd be okay with, especially since we know Kingdom Hearts has been massively delayed by Disney. Thanks, Disney. Appreciate that. Really. It's the best. Did I miss one? Nope. Okay, whatever. Anyways. Am I ever getting another pet? No. Mateus wasn't even my pet. It was, someone else's pet. And, I will never have a pet again in my life. I had my pet. Her name was Peggy. She was a 3-legged cat, and she was my cat. And, yeah, after she died, I swore I would never actually take another pet, ever, in honor of her memory. Because I'm the kind of sentimental sap who does things like that. Well, she was a three-legged cat. She actually hopped like a bunny because she couldn't walk normally. You know, she was missing her front left paw and arm in its entirety. And so she would hop forward on her front paw in order to move. She was quite mobile. It didn't really prevent her from being able to move around or anything like that. So we're going to talk about the Quillbore a little bit more in a second. We're just doing this as kind of a lead into the Quillbore here.
What do you need?
Good! They will all die. Their chieftains, their women, their children, their pets!
Go with honor.
I think he's a little bit angry. What do you guys think?
What do you need?
Do you have their skulls? Yes, these are clearly symbols of a Gamagon. But if the Quillbore are still devoted to their dead god, what is the source of their vicious aggression? It is said a Gamagon was noble, even gave his life fighting the Burning Legion. A moment, we must confer with the spirits.
Go with honor.
Aid me, friends. Let us call upon the spirits for a vision. A Gamagon will not rise again without blood. His body demands sacrifice. Go, go! Take our land. When it all belongs to the Quillbore, we will be delivered, and the Gamagon will rise again. This he has spoken to me. Go, kill! I see. She's using him to manipulate them all. Gosh, a political leader is using a religious icon in order to gain more power for herself. I'm reminded of Deep Space Nine all of a sudden.
Loktar!
I can't put him out of my mind, Ironman. Sometimes at night I can hear his howls of rage and suffering echoing across the plains. To imagine him out there alone and in such pain. Please, I ask a favor of you. Go to Mankrik. Tell him to come see me.
Farewell.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Strength and honor.
You again. I hope you didn't put too much faith in your actions settling my spirit. I've realized there'll be no peace without her. Not anymore. I will see their very homes razed. Are you ready to slay more of these disgusting murderers? Actually, Maka wants you to go see her, Mankrik.
Strength.
Maka wishes to see me? Very well. Return to her. I will follow. Yeah, I've actually talked about the Quillbore most during the Thunderbluff, the Mulgore section, but it's one of those weird situations where it's totally understandable why they're terrible, terrible people. But, I mean, really? It is kind of a shame, too. Look at this land, Mankrik. The Horde and Alliance tear the earth apart just to claw at each other in spite. Such hatred brings us only destruction. I can see it in you as you fight the Quillbore. Your anger does nothing but wear you away. You're destroying yourself, Mankrik. There is nothing left for me. I seek a warrior's death. Is that wrong? You seek escape, not glory. It's suicide. So what if it is? Why do you even care? Because... Because despite what you think, there may be people in this world who would mourn your passing.
Greetings.
Please, Mankrik.
Go forth to victory.
Set down your blade. This hatred has burned in me for 4 years. 4 years, Maka. Your words cannot lift it from me so easily. Then do not bear it alone. Just sit next to me and forget your troubles, if only for a while. Come see me whenever you are ready. Thank you, Marker. I thought this was a nice touch, actually. Not just because it's nice to see Mankrik getting some semblance of relief after all the terribleness, but it's a nice cap to the war that was happening in the South Barrens. The Alliance and the Horde just constantly ripping each other apart and destroying everything in their path in the process. And we kind of see that hatred literally personified in him. See you around, Goldar. Probably not, Ricky. It is too convenient from a writing perspective to, to have, and there's no nice way to say this, disposable people. D&D likes to do that with things like, you know, kobolds and gnolls and trolls and, I don't know, orcs. You know, there's a lot of races that are just automatically used as the default bad guys. So you have a variety of bad guys to always fight of varying levels, small, medium, large, etc. So it's convenient from a writing perspective to keep these bad guy races, these disposable races, in the setting. I could perceive a way for them to integrate with the rest of society normally, but it's extremely unlikely since society can't integrate with itself normally. So, likelihood, very low. Yeah, I was going to say, it's not like we haven't seen nice murlocs, gnolls, kobolds. We've seen plenty of decent people of all of the mongrel races. Also, nice little touch. This is something I actually liked. Hey, Charlord. You can actually do the quest chain here to determine what's going on with the Shady Wrist Inn as Horde or Alliance. I actually rather liked that. The fact is that, you know, the Horde, at least back during BC, was just as, you know, why the hell are the Grim Totems slaughtering these innocent people, and this is a terrible thing, as the Alliance were. And I liked the fact that both sides could try and get to the bottom of the problem and go take it to the Grim Totem. It's not like the Horde were really fond of the Grim Totem anyways, right? Hello, Charlord. I don't remember if I said that already. And hey, Tetris. I don't remember if I said hi to you either, but new map. We're actually just doing one quest here as a Horde, literally. Because I want to show something off, but there's no real need to do these quests, so... I should toss that message out. So welcome to Brackenwall Village. So as you can see, this is actually an ogre village. This is the village of ogres that Rexxar actually took over back in Frozen Throne. In fact, this is the specific overlord who was put in charge by Rexxar, and I quote, "Bow before Overlord Mokmarok! Rexxar make me mighty leader of Stonewall Clan. Me good leader. Me keep clan safe." Now the thing is, this is not actually their original village. I'll talk about that in just a second. Where's the flight path? Oh, there it is. There we go. So these ogres, they were members of the Stonewall Clan. Now the Stonewall Clan has pretty much is a part of the Horde. Yeah, just a second. So yeah, these are literally Horde ogres. Yeah. Mokmarok. Zurg. And there's another one around here. My favorite one, Drazilb. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Anyways. Funnily, in fact, he probably shouldn't actually be Mok Marak because he only has one head, but moving on. So these ogres were originally down here. In this general vicinity. They were kicked out by the Black Dragonflight, those loyal to Onyxia, when she really started setting herself up there. And... God damn it. So they were the ones they were set up down there. Onyxia kicked them out, and rather than actually trying to fight back or do anything that ogres would do, Mok Marak here said, "Let's just run away, run away, run away, run away, run away." And they came all the way up to here and founded this new area around this area. We'll actually be seeing a couple of stone maul elsewhere as well in Feralas, I believe. Regardless. These ogres are led by that guy. He was specifically put in charge by Rexar. Rexar defeated their previous overlord and claimed himself leader of the Stone Maul and basically forced them to serve the Horde. So, in every way that matters, these are Horde ogres. I just feel like pointing that out because there literally are ogres who serve the Horde right now. The Stone Maul clan. It's just the one clan of ogres. So the Stonewall clan of ogres, it would probably be the ogre playable race if we were ever actually to get an ogre playable race, which several people have been in favor of for some time. Who knows if it'll ever happen? I mean, shrug. Either way, the other guy I want to point out here is actually this guy, Blizzard. I mean, Drazlilb. I will never call Breckenwall Village my home. I'm just going to read this one quest. Whilst that craven fool Mok Marak wallows in power and Tharg wrestles the demons of sorrow and vengeance and vies for leadership of the clan, I seem to be the only one concerned with identifying the source of aggression for our old home. Why the puzzled stare, Ironman? Expecting me to speak like an uncouth ruffian simply because I am an ogre? Now back to business. Bring to me the hearts and tongues of the whelps of the hatchlings, and I shall trace the root of this evil. So yeah, Ogre Mage, intelligent Ogre Mage, and his name is Blizzard, of course it is. As I've actually pointed out, though, the way this works is basically this head's name would be Draz, and this head's name would be Zilb, or whatever. Draz, Zilb, that's how that works, like Cho and Gaul, for example. Anyways, long story short, we determined that apparently this idiot, Mok Marak, he wasn't actually concerned for the clan. That's not why he came up here and hid up here. He was concerned about retaining leadership of the clan, so he basically arranged this surrender so they would be more loyal to him, and that's about as much cunning as he was able to manage in his puny ogre brain. His puny ogre brain is then chopped off and overthrown, because that's how ogre politics work. If you don't like your leader, you fight them to the death, and whoever wins gets to be the new leader. So, yeah. Anyways, that's really all I wanted to show off here. Like I said, there's really not much to show off. There's one last thing I do want to show off, though, and that's this.
Greetings, traveler.
Hello, monk. You look to be caked in dust instead of mud. I take it you ventured here from the Barrens. He clenches the bullet in his palm as you tell your story. Gone. Dead. I should have known. His temper, his recklessness. I knew someday I would get the better of him. But it sounds as if you've already gifted him with vengeance. Thank you, Ironman. Turn your attention now to Dustwallow, even though it's technically in the past. If the Alliance finishes their cursed road through here, all your victories in the Barrens would have been for nothing. Just a second. Sorry.
Go in peace.
Well, no, fairies do that too, Jabin, so it's logical. Technically, I should have done this the other day. I apologize. Let me just go ahead and speed this up a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of sick of those Quillbore bastards. Let's go take care of that religious zealot who is trying to use her so-called deity in order to further her own political ends, shall we? That's what I'm trying to do, Brigwin. It's proving difficult.
Hail.
The Quillbore here are too dangerous to get riled up over outside conflicts. I cannot ward them off forever. We must put a stop to their transgressions against nature. Technically, yes, Dabigo. Only once ever. And it's only in a mask. The bats native to the Razorfen Crawl produce a very peculiar natural substance. Their guano stench seems to send the Quillbore into a murderous frenzy, and this place reeks of it. I need you to find a bat cave and bring me a suitable sample. And if you see Batman in there, tell him to get off his lazy...
Be careful.
I can sense a being of immense power within these twisted thorns, Frozen Sorrow. The entire area has come alive at its presence. It must be the spirit of Agamagon. He was one of the first and most powerful beings to ever live. The Quillbore worship him fervently. All the vines you see across the land are a result of his blood. The sacrifice to save Azeroth in the War of the Ancients. If there's any being that could steer the Quillbore towards their noble roots, it would be him. You must seek him out.
We shall meet again.
In order to maintain the relative safety of the South Barrens, we must put a stop to the current leadership of the Razorfen tribe. Although Charlga Razorflank commands her people through that mysticism, her true power is the strength of the elders around her. Slay them, hunt down Bone Tusk, stop Rugug, and crush Ram Tusk.
Winds be at your back.
So this is the Razorfen Crawl. This is where the Razorfen are really well entrenched. You can see the thorns here are absolutely everywhere. This whole area is basically completely non-arable land as a result of the severe amount of thorn overgrowth. This is also a nice... this is actually kind of a cool thing, because this goes... We've seen the thorns here and there before now. This really gets to showcase what it's like.
Keep your eyes open! The stones speak of trouble!
This really shows what it's like when the thorns really get to grow. And you see what they mean by that statement of living in the shade of the thorns. Actually, there's no horde quests to do with it that I'm aware of, Zawan, which is kind of weird and kind of disappointing. I remember distinctly being disappointed by that. Anywho. So, Razorfen Crawl. Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. That is Hunter... Oh, no, that's actually Crawl Shaper Tuskar, who's not even listed as a boss. As you can see, they keep boars here, which they go out and capture, and they grow in here. That's part of their source of food, and how they can function in the thorns at all.
My body returns to the crawl.
Also, this is another one of those dungeons that people tended to get lost in back in the day. For obvious reasons, really. Well, I mean, it's kind of damaged as a result of the whole, That was actually kind of cute. It was damaged as a result of the Theramore incident, but yeah, it's overall still there.
Hunters, arm your traps. I smell something.
I think their traps are already aggroed. So, this is actually kind of cool. See this thing over here? This is a crystalline aberration. This is something their geomancers use. Basically think shamanistic or druidic power. I'm not actually sure which, but some kind of more natural magic poured directly into a crystal, and that crystal is of a specific frequency to reverberate that magic and function with it easier than, you know, dirt would be, for example. It's basically a more refined form of an elemental. I always found it interesting that the Quillbore of all people would have that, but considering how much shamanistic they are, how shamanistic they are in nature, and how basically their entire society works around that, that makes sense to me. Ah, there he is.
The crystals speak to me. Today brings victory.
Whatever you say, Geomagus. Or Geomagus, I suppose. So that's Rugug. Quillbore society regards the reading of stones and crystals as the highest form of shamanism. Rugug served the Quillbore people for many years, quietly honing his divinative arts. He now serves the Quillbore as overseer of all geomancers and amassed a powerful array of crystals with which to dispose of weaker foes. It's only a matter of time before these mystics overrun the South Barrens. Unless, you know, we do something about it first.
By Agamagon, I will end you! Blood of Agamagon! Burn them! Shards of earth! Blind them!
Note the crystal totems, by the way. I just feel like pointing those out because there was some theories going around for a while
Blood of Agamagon! Burn them!
that we would get totems like that on
Shards
something.
of earth! Blind them! I join the earth.
I didn't mean to loot. So here's the hunt leader. If a hunter's accomplishments are measured by the trophies they return with, Bone Tusk would be regarded as one of the best. His cunning aim and animalistic instincts brought him hunting and tracking abilities to new heights, and only the strong stand a chance to survive against this veteran hunter. Draenei totems are
My boss will overrun you.
They're basically part technology. They're basically magitech. They're using the crystal technology of the Draenei of the Naru, actually, really. It's a cool attack. And,
Many shots, one kill. You will never take my glory.
probably not, no. Anywho, so yeah, the Draenic totems are a magic technology, which is funny, because the goblin totems are too. I'm going to let the innocents here live, because I'm not horrible. This next guy up here is the Warlord.
Who dares wake me?
And the commander of the Razorfen military forces, Warlord Ramtusk is a massive, aging Quillbore whose thick hide bears the scars of many battles with Centaur, Harpies, Orcs, and even Tauren. In his later years, Ramtusk has embraced the company of Quillbore spirit leaders, Agrim Thorncurse and Deathspeaker Jarga, who guide his thoughts from the spirit realm. These used to be bosses in here. And you have to fight him in this Spirit Link Totem area, which is actually kind of a cool concept, really. Hey, buddy.
Spirits, guide my blade. Pitiful soft skins.
Notice there's using a lot of
Break their will!
cool new graphics and mechanics here. Makes me think this is them playing with some of the new stuff they're going to be doing in Legion.
This is not the last of us.
Ramtusk has fallen. We must protect the crone! Now, crone is not an insult in this case. Crone is actually... Yeah, no kidding, Zoan. Crone is actually one of the most venerated and revered members of their entire society, actually. Whoa! And they're all dead. They all died to make... So this is actually... Okay, sorry. Before I talk about crones, this is cool. This is literally a thorn elemental kind of a thing. It's not actually an elemental. I'm sorry, I really shouldn't say that correctly. But it is effectively a thorn golem. I think is actually probably the best way to put this thing. And I just love the concept of them using these things and actually animating them to attack us. It shows how, while they are not advanced, they are very good at what they actually do and use. Meanwhile, they're trying really, really hard to control this crystal and behemoth. And, failing at it. For some fairly obvious reasons there. The crone is their most venerated person. Think of it similar to a Vedic or a Kai. Or not Kai. No, I think Vedic is the right thing. Think of it as like a Vedic from over in Deep Space Nine for the Bajorans. Or if you don't know what that is, can't really think of a really good equivalent for you. But basically, it's one of their most absolute leaders. It's the person who, while technically does not have any actual political power, not literally, they can say what Agamagon says. They are the mouthpiece for Agamagon. And so whatever they say Agamagon says is what goes. So they don't literally have any political power. It's just everyone will do everything they say. I know that sounds weird, but that's kind of how that works out. Now, the crone, in particular, is not just doing this... I mean, she is doing this for her own self-aggrandizement. She is actually trying to, you know, conquer and rule, and she wants all that power. But she didn't come up with all these ideas herself. We'll just kill him really quick. Bam. There. But we'll talk about that in just a second. That was the Blind Hunter. After years of seclusion, a monstrous creature from deep inside the dark grotto has emerged. This gargantuan bat continuously feeds on the boar once named Agathellos the Raging, whose dark power was once fueled by continual consumption of bat guano. What a wonderful circle of life. Hello, boar spirit. Join me. No? Okay. Let's try this again. Is he not? Ah, okay, right. Right. Changes. Silly me. Anyways, we are about to go fight Charlga. The leader of the Razorfin tribes is Charlga Razorflank, a quillboar whose experimental and powerful geomancy practices are second to none. Her meteoric rise to power and the rapidly increasing violence between the tribesmen can only lead to one thing. War. There he is. There's the spirit of Agamagon. And no, I haven't, little Billy. I've been waiting for you to come here. Listen closely, mortal. The Quillboar are my children. My blood runs deep in these lands. Charlga Razorflank has steered my children into darkness, driven into insanity by the Scourge. Slay her, frozen sorrow. Slay her and open my children's eyes. Give the Quillboar the chance to return to their noble roots. Let them once again earn my blessing and bring me her heart.
I see you, interlopers. You tread on sacred ground.
Hello, Syndrosa. I see you found someone whose your voice fits. I love her rotating crystal, thing there.
Insignificant whelps! What makes you think you can challenge me?
Well, I mean, Agamagon over there wants me to. So, I mean, you'd think that'd be kind of significant. I mean, your own self-proclaimed deity. You know? Nothing? Nothing? So let's talk about the Scourge connection here. In the old version of this map, which happened, you know, before Wrath of the Lich King, the Scourge had actually sent a few tiny little forces out here. Basically, like, a small little handful of Scourge were sent here to try and bring the Quillbore into the Scourge. Which is funny, because someone earlier was mentioning why the Scourge never recruited Murlocs, and yet they actually did recruit the Quillbore. Haha, as they say. Anywho. Yeah, no kidding, not through Zoom. So yeah, they lost to what was effectively a scouting force. She's got me followed. This is terrible. They effectively lost to what was, for all intents and purposes, a scouting force. And they were like, oh god, what are we going to do? And a few of their more desperate members made deals with the Scourge in order to have servitude. And that's one of the things... Oh god! Razorflank here did. Down you go. The spirit of Agamagon stares at you patiently. Take this gift. You have earned my blessing this day. Farewell, Charlga. May the Earth Mother watch over you.
What brings you here?
You've done well this day. Charlga's advisors are as much a threat as any.
Go in peace.
I didn't do that quest, nor am I going to. So that was actually this dungeon. But obviously this isn't just the end of the Quillbore storyline. Or is it? I actually should do... Well, can I do that anymore? I don't remember. There used to be a quick exit out of here, sort of. There also used to be a really long, irritating escort quest. But it looks like they made it so we can't drop down anymore. Although, notice the massive amount of tentacles down there now. That used to be traversable terrain. Yeah. So apparently no quick exit for me. That sucks. Unless... Nope. And now we walk out. Nerubian, Charlord. I would love to play as a Nerubian. And I think I'm the only one. I mean, everyone wants to play a Naga, which I do too, and an Arakoa, and an Ogre. You know, those are the most common, obvious ones. Ah! Into the pit. Oh god, it's got me. It's got me. And it threw me back up. Holy crap. I don't think I've seen that happen before. Okay, then. We'll walk out without going into the pits. Wow, this place has gotten really bad. Since I was last here. Look at that. Anyway, so let's discuss the Scourge component. Like I said, originally the Scourge were sent here. It was like a scouting force to, you know, bring the Quillbore to heal. You might be like, well, hang on. How the hell can there still be a Scourge threat with everything that's happened? Well, there isn't. You know how several people are like, ah, we are the Horde. And... good luck, Juju's. Did you stretch yourself too hard? Anyways, so the forces that are calling themselves the Scourge now, who are still working with these people and are still trying to manipulate this area, and of course the Downs, which we're about to do, they're not actually the Scourge. They're not loyal to Bolvar. That's not what's happening here. What is happening here is there are still undead out there who still have their own, you know, sentience and sapience and free will and all that other wonderful stuff. And so they've decided to keep going after power and keep being necromancers and keep being evil. Because, believe it or not all of the Scourge were evil solely because of the fact that, you know, the Lich King made them evil. So the fact that they have been gifted their free will back by Bolvar is, well, they're just doing their own thing. And there are plenty of individuals, undead, still roaming around who call themselves Scourge, when in fact there is no Scourge anymore in any real sense of the word. So we're going to head pretty much right over here. Now, there used to be an entrance over here. It's actually been moved to the Thousand Needles. At least if memory serves. Spoilers. So this is actually the... Hang on, let me get up a bit. This is actually the capital right here of the Quillbore people. This is where they have... this is where they have essentially set roost. All Quillbore power all eventually comes back here to the Razorfen Downs. You'll notice the terrain around here is pretty messed up and fully thorned. This area actually got even worse when the Cataclysm happened. And these thorns went wild and started spreading like crazy. And... where's the hell is the entrance? Maybe they didn't move it. Maybe I'm just stupid. I thought they moved the entrance. Yeah, they did. Okay, whatever. This may be the first time I'm actually lost. Holy crap. There's something in particular I'm looking for. And it should have been right. It is right here. Okay, God. I must have just gone right by it. So this is, theoretically, the skull of a Gamagon right here. I say theoretically because we're not actually 100% sure if it is or not. But most sources do agree that this is, in fact, the skull of a Gamagon. This is where his corpse actually fell. All the way back in the day. So plenty of the Quillbore actually willingly joined the Scourge and betrayed their own people to the Scourge, as is true in basically every other organization ever. I mean, that's not exactly a thing unique to the Quillbore. They call themselves the Death's Head Quillbore. So back in Vanilla, we went through here, defeated the Scourge forces, saved a red dragon who was trapped here, and generally brought the Quillbore to heel. I know that's a bit of a summary, but there it is.
I require your aid.
As you can see, we still have some red dragon problems here. Right, I can't actually hit those. You are good to have come so quickly. I must ask you to put your lives... Anyways, Aminar's apprentice, Deathspeaker Blackthorn, hopes to return his master to the realm of the living. We must quickly make our way to the top of the Spiral of Thorns, and defeat him before the ritual can be completed. We must strike together. Only with our combined force can we hope to stop him. See you around, Joven. So, you might be asking who the hell is Aminar. Aminar was the Lich in charge of this place, who we actually defeated last time. Apparently, as I mentioned, there are still some particular Death's Head cultists here who are still loyal to him and his forces, which I find hilarious, personally. I thought Aminar was destroyed. I thought so, too. Aminar the Coldbringer's been defeated. A grave mistake indeed. How clouded my judgment must have been to forget the true power of a Lich lies in their phylactery! What's a phylactery? A powerful necromancer like Aminar can store his soul in a physical vessel, allowing himself to be reborn if the proper rituals are completed. I should have searched across Kalimdor for Aminar's phylactery, but I was too prideful in our previous victory. Now all of that work may be undone. Yeah, I think so too, Schmeidolf, but whatever. Skeletons assault you constantly and plague rolls out of the caves. How can I help stop the ritual? I know Deathspeaker Blackthorn's newest creation, Mushlump, spews forth plague from every pore, and he has re-enlisted Mordish Fireeye's help in rallying the undead. Even the Death's Head have been helping Blackthorn. Their arachnomancers have been creating a monstrosity of fangs and plague, a spider of enormous size called Erux. If you could defeat these enemies and clear the plague blocking my path, we could climb the Spiral of Thorns and defeat Deathspeaker Blackthorn and recapture Aminar's phylactery before it's too late. Okay, well, you keep on keeping on over there. I'm gonna head over here instead. So, as you can see, this place is a little bit different than you probably remember it. Hey, buddy. You're too late. The ritual has begun. No arachnomancers. It's not allowed. No, Nethrezim. Also, the phylactery is apparently here, so it's even stupider when you think about it. Ugh. I like how there's just spiders hanging out up there. And of course, if you aggro them, which I don't think I even can, they'll come down and kill us. Or try to, anyways. There's a lot of webs around here. Holy crap. All abilities involve cats. Wow, there are a lot of webs around here. So there she is up there. Erux. Ahem. The Arachnomancers of the Death's Head cult are particularly proud of their efforts. After many failed attempts, they have finally created a suitable guardian for Death Speaker Blackthorn. Erux is a huge spider whose body bristles with toxin, filled with pustules that burst and ooze noxious liquids. The Arachnomancers now await the opportune moment to unleash their creation. So you're a witch doctor, is it one? I really like the new downs, by the way. Aha! She comes! I like how she's just literally spewing boils of venom and plague in all directions. Look at this. Lovely thing, isn't she? Yeah. For the reference, this place didn't always look like this horrible undead plague death place. This is kind of recent. Even back in vanilla, this place didn't look like that. But my point is, the capital of the Quillbore actually used to be a fairly pleasant place, other than the thorns, and I've already discussed the problem with the thorns. This is Quell Surar. I am $. So up there is Mordresh Fireeye. He was also... Yes, he's standing on a giant pile of bones there. Ahem. All through necromantic magic, Deathspeaker Blackthorn was able to rekindle the flames of Mordresh Fireeye's soul, returning him to undeath. As a former shaman...
Our conquest of Kalimdor begins, and nothing will survive our wrath!
As a former shaman, Mordresh has exerted his twisted control over the elements. He burns and scorches all those who had threatened the Death Speaker's work. And as you can see, he's literally rocking out up there.
Your bones will be added to this pile! Burn!
This is actually kind of interesting, because I believe this is actually our first shot of an undead shaman. So, yeah, we literally have an undead shaman here, guys. In lore, no more arguing it. You're wrong. Moving on.
I have fallen before.
Well, Zawan, personally, I think the best possible reason to raise someone as a ghoul is if you're incredibly stupid and want to make sure your troops are as weak as possible. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. It's probably the same voice actor, Luffy. So now, through the pit. Soon we will be fighting Mushlump, a recent creation of Deathspeaker Blackthorn. Mushlump is a grotesque collection of parts from other failed creations, full of bile, pus, and other noxious humors. Mushlump contaminates the halls leading up to Deathspeaker Blackthorn. A little bit of interesting, just tiny little tidbit of lore here. So once upon a time there was an abomination in these holes, right? Well, that actually is a piece of another abomination. Originally, so the Scourge scouting force I mentioned here came here, and basically came here with like a big abomination, Aminar, and that's it. And the abomination killed so many Quillbore that it provided all the raw materials necessary for Aminar to raise an army here. That abomination died in the process, or whatever you want to call that, and was then sewn together as the bits and pieces of them that were left were sewn together to form Glutton. Now we have this new guy.
Mushlump play with squishy. You kill Mushlump. Owie.
So of course next we must go after the Deathspeaker himself. Deathspeaker Blackthorn rose quickly through the ranks of the Death's Head cult after the defeat of Aminar the Coldbringer. I want to point out, yeah, no kidding, Nethrezim. Oh, hey, it's Corey Estraza. I want to point out that, this is another interesting thing. As I mentioned before, a lot of people willingly join the Twilight's Hammer, willingly join the Scourge, right? So this cult of Quillbore lost their Scourge Overseers, and the Scourge in general. The Scourge are gone. They don't actually exist as a power anymore. And yet, despite that, there are still people here loyal to the idea who wanted to bring them back because, you know, this way they will have their power and we will be stronger. And I'm just trying to point out that people can be motivated for all sorts of different types of reasons. And it's one of the reasons why, why there are still evil undead roaming parts of the world. So, hey, Corey Estraza.
I am listening.
You've done it. The plague preventing my access has been disrupted. We can now begin the final push to Deathspeaker's disrupt the ritual. Let's do it.
Hello.
Technically I already did that. So let's go. Come on, Corey Estraza. Come on. Holy crap.
Together we can put a stop to Deathspeaker Blackthorn's plans. We must be quick. The ritual is almost complete.
Well, I'm going as fast as I can, but if you could, like, give me a ride, that would be a lot faster. No? Okay, whatever. Bubonic Geist. I like that one. We've got a lot of...
No darkness can hold back the powers of the Lifebinder.
I am not going to say anything. This is actually kind of neat, though. She's basically giving us assistance as we move our way up through the trash. This is actually a pretty cool mechanic. This is a good way to have the NPCs actually do something, rather than just sit there and watch the fight. Looking at you, Thrall. And us still being the main one who's actually doing the push. This is a nice in-between. A lot of people have argued that one of the stupid things about WoW is there's all these mega powerful NPCs, yet they basically never do anything. We're the ones always doing everything. And it's obvious, because we're the player characters. We should be the ones doing stuff. So I like it when they do this in-between kind of a thing here. Obviously she didn't do this back in the day, that is correct. This is actually really nice. It heals 100 damage every second and increases healing done. So, yeah. It's a nice touch. And obviously she didn't used to do this back in the day. This is something new for the new version of the dungeon.
darkness can hold back the powers of the Lifebinder.
She sounds familiar, actually. Anyways, we're at the top. There is Death Speaker Blackthorn. Are you ready, Coriastraza? Let's do this. Oh, by the way, just an interesting lore tidbit. You might wonder how she's making life happen. Remember, the whole shtick of the Red Dragons is burning life. By which I mean the exact same thing that happened to Bolvar. Bolvar was dead, remember. But they burned him with dragonfire, which brought him back to life on fire. It was kind of unpleasant. But anyways, the point being, this whole area is very, very dead. Years of Scourge activity and undead and Forsaken, just all sorts of horrible, horrible crap, has made this place very, very dead land. And that's on top of the fact that this was a thorn-riddled area. Remember, the thorns basically leech the life out of everything around them. So she is actually burning the terrain. In fact, if you'll watch here, you'll see she's literally breathing fire.
Let the power of the red dragonflight mend your wounds.
Like that. And that burn creates a new font of life that we can then use to heal us. It's a nice touch. Anyways, so time to go after the Death Speaker.
Aminar will be reborn!
You'll never reborn this. Wait, hang on. You don't belong in this world. It was not by my hand that I was once again given flesh. Oh, hang on. Sorry.
You are too late.
Oops, I don't even mean to do that.
Aminar is reborn with my death.
So there's Aminar. He was the Lich who was sent here originally. He was once a force of reckoning within the Scourge. He was actually participating in the assault in Mount Hyjal. This is true, by the way. He was one of the Liches in that mission. Afterward, the Lich King instructed his servant to remain in Kalimdor and expand the Scourge's influence. His efforts were thwarted by the heroes of the Horde and the Alliance, however. Now the relative peace that has been brought to the Razorfen Downs may be threatened. Deathspeaker Blackthorn hopes to revive this powerful Lich and renew his assault on the Barrens.
You'll never leave this place alive.
They actually redid his mechanics a bit, which I kind of like. They gave him this new ability, Frozen Bomb, which is actually kind of cool.
Heroes, step quickly into the redeemed soils and allow life to flow back into you.
So he does this ability called Soul Leech, which if he does it, he heals from you and, of course, stuns you in the process. If you get into the healing thing, or it doesn't stun you, excuse me, but if you get into the healing thing, it reverts it back on him. Just kind of a cool little mechanic thing here. He's actually a very simple boss, relatively speaking, but I appreciate the effort that they did to it.
Quickly, stand within the healing soils to protect yourselves.
And he is very dead. He dropped both tank items.
We have done it. I will take the phylactery into safekeeping. Aminar will no longer control the Quilboar nor threaten Kalimdor.
Yeah, could I just take that? Last time I let someone else take a phylactery, it didn't turn out well.
What brings you here?
A job well done. With Aminar's phylactery, we can protected by the dread dragonflight. We can now rest at ease.
I am listening.
I believe we see Coriastraza elsewhere. Give me just a second, if you will. Because I admittedly get... no, not Coriastraza. Coriastraza. My bad. Coriastraza. I get Red Dragon names a little bit confused with each other. Looks like no. Looks like she is only here. I kind of figured, because she didn't really sound that familiar. Apparently this is one of the zones that was redone in Warlords. Interesting. Kil'Thuzad must be the new Forsaken leader. That would actually be kind of cool. But no. Apparently Erin Fitzgerald is her voice. She also voices several other people, including Girel, which is probably where most people recognize her. Anyways. Let me think about this. I actually would be really interested to see Kel'Thuzad become the new Forsaken leader. Think about that for a moment. Fitzgerald, or however that's supposed to be pronounced. Fitzgerald. Get out of my inventory. That's a really interesting thought. How about have Kel'Thuzad come back, free from the Lich King, obviously, free from all the terrible crap, and trying to lead the Forsaken who want to redeem themselves, basically. The good Forsaken, for lack of a better way to put that. Actually, even in lore, Kel'Thuzad is not permanently dead, no. It's just, the actual lore explanation right now is, we don't know where Kel'Thuzad is at the moment. I like that idea. I'm going to officially take that as my new favorite new leader for the Forsaken. I mean, Lillian Voss isn't a bad option. Oops, I need to check something really quick. But I like the idea of Kel'Thuzad redeeming himself and leading the Forsaken to new heights of awesome to make up for everything. I really like that idea a lot. And admittedly, I'm a little biased because Kel'Thuzad is one of my favorite characters in the entire setting. Last we saw Kel'Thuzad in lore, he was being defeated by us in the newly moved Noxoramus up in Northrend. Alright, we're going to do some cleanup stuff, and then we'll go ahead and go for lunch. I'm basically... my lunch has been delayed by like 40 minutes, so... where am I trying to sharp locate? So, why don't we go ahead and head this way.
Look, Tom.
Lillian Voss is someone we'll be talking about a great deal more in the future, obviously. I think... Yes. Yes, okay. Lillian Voss is also an interesting character, because we're heading to Desolace, as originally planned. Because Lillian Voss was actually introduced in Cata, and then her story arc just kind of stopped, and everyone just kind of assumed, okay, well, whatever. But then she did a little bit more stuff in Pandaria, and then she did a little bit more stuff in Warlords. So she's actually had a tiny little increase into her story arc each expansion so far. I'm kind of hoping she'll be in Legion, since she survived. Like I said, Nether, I'm not actually disagreeing with you, but we were talking earlier about redemption stories. I gotta be honest, I would love a redemption story for Kel'Thuzad. And I admit I am totally biased, and that's why. I absolutely want a redemption story for Kel'Thuzad, because Michael McConaughey is awesome, and Kel'Thuzad has always been an awesome character. And to be completely honest, Kel'Thuzad was also a character who was kind of screwed over by everything. I'm not saying he didn't choose his point, but he's a character I have a lot of sympathy for. I think that's the best way to put that. And he was always one of the better, nicer Scourge leaders. While he did do terrible things, absolutely, no question, he never did so as a cacklingly evil, maniacal, I'm going to kill everyone because blah ha ha kind of a guy. The worst he ever became in my eyes was very, very cynical. You know what I mean? Kel'Thuzad was a genuine believer in a lot of the things he was actually doing. And it's understandable why. The world was terrible when he rose to power. Again, as I've said many, many times, there's a reason the Cult of the Damned had so many willing recruits, you know? And yeah, as Netherzine points out, he is a lot of things. He is a lot of bastard things, but interestingly enough, Kel'Thuzad is not a traitor, despite everything. I don't know. I am very biased on the matter, so I can't give a neutral answer to it. I have to admit, it would be very unlikely for people to be willing to forgive him for all that he's done. And yet, at the same time, they were willing to allow the Death Knights clemency. Now, okay, that's kind of a different situation, but what I mean is the an automatic bias against the Death Knights. And they've been willing to forgive Sylvanas, and she has, in my opinion, done worse than Kel'Thuzad has done. So, if the Horde is willing to accept Sylvanas, I mean, even Varian is now willing to accept Sylvanas in the face of a greater evil, I could see it that they would be willing to accept Kel'Thuzad, at least to start, and then have Kel'Thuzad actually go through a proper redemption arc of going from evil to neutral, not to good. Again, that's cynicism. And as Norlix points out, if you're going to replace Sylvanas, you have to replace her with someone big. You can't just replace her with random Forsaken Mook 5, 6, 7. We need to replace her with someone big. And Kel'Thuzad fits that definition very, very well. I don't actually know, Fruit Juice. I know they are actually working on the next expansion. Yes, we do know that for a fact. They have a lot of options with direction they could take. They could take it to the South Seas, they could take it to the Old Gods, they could take it back to BC. They could take the fight to the Legion, actually going to Legion Worlds, you know, push back against their forces after we successfully defend Azeroth or whatever in Legion. They got a lot of options for what they're doing after Legion, so we'll see. Yeah, no kidding, Netherzium. I actually read the short story where Kel'Thuzad first met the Lich King the other day on screen, or on stream, and it was very, very obvious based on that, just how screwed Kel'Thuzad was the moment he walked up there. Sassy Hardwitch, yeah! And yeah, it is really such a unusual, horrible situation, and a bit of a shame, really. Because Kel'Thuzad really did think he was making the world a better place. Well, I'm really putting that wrong. I honestly don't think Kel'Thuzad believed the Lich King was the proper path for the world. But I do think he believed the Scourge was the better path for the world, if you know what I mean. What do you mean, Zawan Joker? Varian. Varian Rin. There you go. There's your answer. Varian is the person who actually worked... the Legion cinematic, dude. My point, though, is that Sylvanas is still allowed to exist in the Horde, despite being, in basically every way, someone who has done worse than Kel'Thuzad has done. That was my point. Yeah, Argus is one of the possibilities that's been mentioned for the next expansion. Hey, Garrosh, what are you doing here? And better question, can I kick you off? Just like one quick boot. Bam! And there you go. There's all our problems for 2 expansions. Gone. Oh, crap. Yeah, whatever. Exactly, Nethrezim. Bingo. He was never loyal to Ner'zhul. Let's put it that way. He was never loyal to the first Lich King. But he did have a strong loyalty to Arthas, and it's understandable why. I mean, really. Arthas actually, the real Arthas, actually believed in many ways the same way that Kel'Thuzad did. He cared about his people, right? He cared about his people, he cared about what happened to them, he cared about their future, he cared about making a better future for them, right? And that was what Kel'Thuzad was all about. Kel'Thuzad saw just how depraved and decadent and horrible everywhere had become. He saw how things happened in the Second War. He saw how the things were deteriorating in the Kirin Tor. He saw how bad things were getting in the wake of the Second War. And then there's that crater. Let's tilt the camera away from that, shall we? So yeah, I think Kel'Thuzad had a lot of real loyalty to Arthas. If I'm being 100% honest, and this is probably a little bit of fanboy coming out of me, I would love it if we find out that Kel'Thuzad kept doing all that he was doing throughout the course of, you know, Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne and whatnot, because he knew that the real Arthas was still there somewhere, and he was actually helping real Arthas and his plans that ended up happening during the course of Northrend. Okay, fine. There's the crater. There's the terrible, horrible thing we did. Never forget. But I would love that, because it makes so much sense, doesn't it? Kel'Thuzad would know that the second Lich King and his essence would never actually be good for society as a whole. So he would know that the second Lich King needed to be stopped, and he would know that with the ridiculous power the second Lich King had at his disposal, Kel'Thuzad working with the real Arthas against the second Lich King would be one of the only ways to accomplish that. So, admittedly, this is some fanboy talking here. But it makes sense! It fits! It fits the pieces! Damn it! It would be awesome! I know, Takoida, I know. I get you. I do. But damn it! Ah, awesomeness! It fits! It does actually fit! Yes, I do make YouTube videos. I haven't been doing so lately because I've been focusing on the Lorerun, but that is a regular thing for me. My pet is really loud right now. Weird. It's kind of creepy, actually. I've got the Shaw of Happiness following me around, because of course I do, I'm a Pandaren. Yeah, bingo, Bragwin. Perhaps one of the... you know what, Takoida? I'm going to push back against you on this one. Just this once. Hear me out. Hear me out. What if one of the only ways... What if one of the only ways... Yes, I do, fruit juice. What if one of the only reasons why real Arthas was able to sustain himself against everything, and all this time, one of the big reasons real Arthas was able to actually maintain his sense of cohesion and his sense of self and to push back against the second Lich King was because Kel'Thuzad was helping him. Kel'Thuzad was quietly assisting him and being there for him in order to give him some of his own power and intellect to push back against their common enemy in the second Lich King. Huh? That would also kind of explain why Kel'Thuzad was the one sent to Naxxramas both times, actually. Instead of being his second in command, which he actually should have been, you know? Oh, that fits so startlingly well, the more I think about it. Meanwhile, Zawan's like, death to everyone who is not... You know what? Who do you like as a character, Zawan? Actually, I've never heard you speak positively of any character in this game. Not counting Scarlet Crusaders. I imagine you were joking with that one. I need a place to hearth at, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the Druid Grove for that, I think. That was the first Lich King, first of all, Malleus. And second of all, one of the biggest things we see was a flaw of both the first and second Lich Kings was their arrogance. Yeah, I know, Big O, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Magni. Okay, Magni, I'll give you Magni. And Moira. Moira's awesome, absolutely. Okay. One of the things I personally like to see is pragmatic ends. Like, for example, this is great, by the way. This used to be Desolus, which used to earn its name, is all I'm going to say about that. This is the terraforming that they can accomplish in this setting, by the way. This is not Overgrowth. This is not Emerald Nightmare. This is just genuine terraforming, but I'll talk more about that in the future. I'm just getting stuff in position so I can break for lunch. I'm kind of delayed on lunch by either 22 minutes or an hour, or 52 minutes, one of the two. Anyways, so I like the pragmatic thing, right? What if Kel'Thuzad ends up joining the Forsaken, and Sylvanas is like, no, screw you, because, I mean, there's no way she would ever forgive him for that. And then what if he ends up using her death, like when she fully just becomes a villain, and we kill Sylvanas and use her death and her soul to kind of transfer so that Arthas can then be tossed back into the light. Again, I don't want him to be coming back to life. I just want Arthas to get out of that unmitigated hell in exchange for Sylvanas. What do you think? No, I haven't eaten yet. I'm waiting. I've been delayed. Right. No, I'm doing something on purpose here. I'm so stupid. Where's... Oh, it's definitely a fan... It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Kel'Thuzad won't come back. Sylvanas will go one of the expected boring routes of their story. And Arthas will stay in the dark forever. That's what's actually going to happen. Let's just be honest about it, guys. But, oh, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if they did something instead of going the expected route like they always do? I love you, Blizzard, but your storytelling is so obvious sometimes it drives me crazy. We did this back before Warlords. You remember that? I did a stream about this. You remember this? We talked about what I would do in Warlords, and I made it so that it would work out. I actually made out a whole thing that made sense in Warlords to actually advance the story and really do something with it. And it went in the same direction, by the way, if you remember, because I predicted Legion would be the next big thing, too. And I was right about that. I was just taking a different path into Legion. But they didn't. They did the completely boring expected thing with Warlords, and it was dumb. I'm sorry. I love the initial story of Warlords. I hate the second story of Warlords. God. Anyways. And yeah, it's Kel'Thuzad. Everyone likes Kel'Thuzad. Come on. Except for Zoan Joker. He doesn't like Kel'Thuzad because he's not a dwarf. But everyone else. Yeah, we all predicted that they would have some redemption story for Grom, and it's like, why? No. And Thrall was the one to kill Garrosh. We all predicted that. We all predicted Gul'dan would be the one to bring the Legion. He did. It was completely predictable, and that's just. They really had a good chance to do something unique with with Warlords. They really did, and they just completely burnt it. And I think that's probably my biggest complaint about Warlords in a nutshell. It's not the alternate reality thing. It's not the fact that it was low on content patches, although that was a big problem. It's not, the biggest thing, the single biggest thing that pissed me off about Warlords was the fact that they had so much potential, and they blew it. They did nothing with it. The final boss in Legion, I am predicting it will be Kil'jaeden. If it's Illidan, I am predicting it will be Kil'jaeden, though. That is the most likely next thing for it to be. My favorite expansion is Pandaria. I've been thinking about this bit by bit, and I used to say it was tied between Wrath and Pandaria, but the more I think about it, while Wrath was an excellent cap to Warcraft 3, and it was, and it had some great, amazing story moments, overall, Pandaria was just a lot of high-quality awesome, and I really love what they did with Pandaria. We got a lot of insight into the Titans, we got a lot of great character development for Jaina and Varian and Anduin. I basically started liking Anduin as a character as of Pandaria. The Pandarans themselves had tons of lore, rich depth of history. They even made a character I absolutely... they made a species I despised make sense throughout Pandaria. They did my personal favorite daily hub ever. That's the Dominance Point thing. There's just lots and lots of quality in Pandaria. They made a few mistakes. It also contains one of my favorite raids in the game, the Throne of Thunder. Bye, Bragman. Sargeras better not be the boss of Legion. Yeah, the Mogu is who I'm referring to, Norlex. Zoan Joker, come on. You have to agree that they did some really good stuff with Pandaria. I was in the boat of those people who was like, oh my god, what are you doing? Why are you making a Pandaria expansion? Well, you've got so many... We just had a big Old Gods expansion. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why? And Pandaria is my favorite expansion. They proved me so wrong with Pandaria, and I love it. The Mogu are nothing like the Moogles, no. No, absolutely nothing like them. God, I am getting really shaky. I really hope that I can go get lunch soon. I'm getting really shaky over here. Holy crap. Hey!
Loktar!
Boonk. There we go.
Strength.
Okay, Zawan, you can hate Pandaria. I'll allow that. Now, leaving aside joking for just a second, Zawan, that may make you one of the only people I know who has a reasoned opinion who hates Pandaria. I'm not saying this as an insult or anything like that. What I mean by that is most people I hear who hate Pandaria don't have a reasoned opinion for doing so. Most people who hate Pandaria are like, nah, pandas and kung fu and blah. So what's your real reason? Like what's your actual reasoned opinion for hating Pandaria? Just out of curiosity. Because, yeah, I have yet to hear any well-reasoned reasons for hating the whole expansion. Most negativity I hear about Pandaria is, well, it could have been something awesome, but instead it was something else that was awesome. You know, most people who detract from the expansion, who are willing to give a real reasoned opinion on the matter, still say it was a good expansion. It just wasn't what they wanted, you know? So... just... Right. Unique hearth point that I didn't want to get rid of. Forgot about that. Whoops. I'm an idiot. I did this in reverse. I should have hearthed and then flown back. Whatever. Also, Raytheon basically became a major character as of Pandaria. Raytheon and Anduin both. I'm sorry, Juju's. Don't worry, I'm about to break for lunch, so you can go ahead, get yourself checked out, get yourself taken care of, and you'll come back. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. What was I saying? Not that I'm aware of, Darker. You'd think there would be. They did do the war is bad thing very well in Pandaria. They could have done that in South Seas, I'll admit that. But you can't deny that that was... Well, okay, you can't deny it. You can deny whatever you want to. I think they did the war is bad thing very well in Pandaria. In fact, the inclusion of the Shah and the Sharaj connection was awesome. And a really great way to literally, physically manifest how the war between the two sides was literally wrecking the land. As if Kata wasn't enough way to hammer that point in. Well, they did, Fruit Juice. The heart of Yasharaj is at this point in time permanently dead. And it's gone. It's completely 100% not coming back, gone. Which also means the Shah are gone. I admit I would love to see the implications and the long-term ramifications of the Shah being permanently gone in Pandaria, but I imagine we won't get a lot of insight into that. We do know something about what's happening in Pandaria in Legion, but I've already said that on stream, and I don't want to spoil anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled. I loved the amount of Titan lore we got in Pandaria. So much of what we know about the Titans now actually came from Pandaria. We learned a lot about the Titans in Pandaria. And again, Raytheon and his whole shtick. Here, fruit juice. Give me a second. Fruit. There we go. Let's see. Now, I will say this. Pandaria did screw up in at least 3 major ways, in my opinion. Way number 1. The initial daily hub was terrible. There were like 30-something dailies you could do right when Pandaria came out, and it really burned me in packs out very quickly. And it kind of sucked. And even Blizzard admits that was a little bit overboard. They added a lot of dailies at the beginning. Flaw number 2, there was a really, really big gap in content. Basically, they had the initial stuff, which was good, and then they came out with 5.1, which was the Dominance Point and the Operation Shield Wall stuff, which was amazing, which was absolutely phenomenal, and I love and I will praise till the end of days. Then they came out with 5.2, which was the Thunder Isle, which was amazing and incredible, and I love it, and I will praise it till the end of days. Then there was a really, really big gap between that and the Siege of Orgrimmar. There was one patch in between that added one of the worst weekly hubs in the universe. It added the Battle for the Barrens, which was grindy and boring and terrible, and I hated it. Then Siege of Orgrimmar came out, which was kind of a mixed patch. On the one hand, the siege itself was awesome, and there were a couple of quests they added which were awesome. And then there was the Timeless Isle. I've actually given my thoughts on the Timeless Isle before, back when it first came out. I actually was doing it when I was doing one of my Black Temple speedruns, because people asked me to talk about it. And the Timeless Isle was an interesting idea. I think that's the nicest way I can put that. Oh my god. Probably is the one Joker. If they ever do the South Seas or the Old God expansion in general, we will. Well, actually, we might not ever get an undersea thing because of how many everyone absolutely hated Vashir. Because oh my god, we all hate Vashir. It's actually interesting to me because for all the hatred I hear about Vashir, I've never heard anyone whose opinion mattered to me who hated Vashir. And I don't mean that as like an elitist thing. What I mean is, I hear constantly on forums and from Blizzard devs that everyone absolutely despised Vashir. And yet every time I ask someone about it, they're like, yeah, it was awesome, or yeah, it was okay, or yeah, it was there. I've never heard anyone who I've asked personally tell me that they absolutely hate Vashir. Which is everyone's cue, by the way, to tell me how much you hate Vashir. Go ahead, get it out of your system. Although if you actually do hate Vashir, then please tell me, because I've never actually had that happen. Even my dear sister, who used to get very, very confused and lost in Vashir, still loved the story and the plot arc through there. Yeah, Darker, that's pretty much what her complaint was. Thank you, Deutsch. Appreciate it. I'm gonna eat some of my rice crackers. You ever have these? These are rice crackers. I think these are Chinese. I'm not actually sure. They're little, things like this. You eat them. Oh. I love these things. I eat these by the pound. No joke. I buy them in bulk. Seriously, the one? Wow. Holy crap. Look, someone else is doing a lore run. And apparently the slut suit is winning over there, too. Who knew? As I check the time, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the local recording while I get everything set up and hope that lunch is coming soon. So, for our YouTube viewers.